Chapter 24:17. As Mo Ping landed on the ground, everyone's heart skipped a beat. Defeated. Mo Ping had also been defeated. He seemed to be unable to withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. Mo Ping was a top expert on the longevity list. His cultivation had reached the level of a 3-star great emperor. Yet he was defeated so easily. Lu Ming, this human, had he really only cultivated for less than 200 years? As for Mo Tianluo, his face turned pale. Even Mo Ping was no match for Lu Ming. How was this possible? 100 years ago, he had fought with Lu Ming. At that time, Lu Ming was only slightly stronger than him. But now, Lu Ming was so much stronger than him. He felt a huge blow and his state of mind was unstable. Interesting. At this moment, Storm's ear-piercing voice was heard again. His 3 eyes flickered as he sized up Lu Ming. Your physical strength is very strong. It seems like you mainly cultivate your physical body. Storm said coldly. His body seemed to be weightless as he floated out. Why don't you try and find out? Lu Ming curled his lips. Of course I'll try. Storm said. Suddenly he moved. His body trembled and disappeared. Then he suddenly appeared behind Lu Ming. A slender long sword appeared in his hand, and he stabbed at Lu Ming's back. However, Lu Ming seemed to have eyes on the back of his head as he struck back with his palm. However, Storm's body flashed and disappeared without a trace. In the next moment, 8 figures suddenly appeared around Lu Ming. The 8 figures were like a storm. They dashed toward Lu Ming and continued to attack him. All 8 of them are real bodies. Interesting. Lu Ming was surprised. What Storm used was not doppelgangers or illusions to confuse others. All 8 of them were real bodies. All 8 of them had the same cultivation level and were extremely powerful. In an instant, Lu Ming struck out 8 palms at the 8 figures. Boom! Boom! 8 explosions rang out as the 8 figures of the storm were repelled by Lu Ming. He's also a 3-star great emperor. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The other party's cultivation was also a 3-star martial emperor. However, he had already reached the peak of the 3-star martial emperor realm. Furthermore, his attack technique was extremely strange and unpredictable. His strength was indeed stronger than Mo Ping's. Again, the storm 8 shadows retreated, and their bodies swayed again. This time, each of their bodies was directly split into 2 halves. The 8 silhouettes turned into 16 and attacked Lu Ming. The 16 silhouettes were all real, and their strength was exactly the same. Their strength did not weaken because they were split apart. It's useless no matter how many you split. Lu Ming said coldly. He changed his palm into a fist and punched out continuously. Boom! Boom! The terrifying fist force crushed the void. Wherever the fist force passed, everything was destroyed. Storm let out a sharp cry and retreated frantically. However, it was too late. He was crushed by Lu Ming's fist force, and the 18 figures exploded one after another. Everyone was greatly shocked. Could it be that Storm was killed by Lu Ming? A top expert on the longevity list had fallen just like that? However, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly at this moment. This was because he realized that his own shadow had suddenly moved. He did not move, but his shadow moved. It was like a sharp sword piercing towards Lu Ming. It happened so quickly that Lu Ming could not react in time. The sword accurately pierced Lu Ming's body, but it did not pierce through Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's defensive power was shocking. In addition, Lu Ming had activated the immortal golden body. That terrifying defensive power was not something that a 3-star great emperor could break through. Lu Ming's shadow rapidly distorted, as if it was filled with shock. Get lost. At this moment, Lu Ming roared like a thunderclap, stomping on his own shadow. Lu Ming activated many kinds of laws with this kick. Although Storm's body was strange, it was still restrained by some of Lu Ming's laws. Boom! The power of the stomp was extremely shocking. The ground shook, and cracks appeared on the incomparably hard floor. With a scream, Lu Ming's shadow returned to normal, while Storm's figure appeared in the distance. There were cracks on his body, and his body almost exploded. Of course, this was because Lu Ming had already shown mercy. Otherwise, Storm would have been dead. No matter how many tricks a 3-star Great Emperor had, Lu Ming could easily kill him if he went all out. You can't even withstand a single blow, Lu Ming said coldly. Damn it, how is this possible? At the side, many of the foreign races roared, finding it hard to accept. An expert on the longevity list had defeated 2 people in a row, and one of them was ranked 76th. There was actually such a powerful genius in the human race, and he had cultivated for less than 200 years. Fortunately, he was captured. This was the fiend god realm. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't do anything. Many of the foreign races comforted themselves. I didn't expect this person to be so strong. High in the sky, the foreign race king, Maruojia, and the others were also very surprised. Lu Ming's strength had completely exceeded their expectations. It's fortunate that such a person was chosen by Saint Ancestor Shexin. Otherwise, if he grows up, he'll be a huge threat to our race, Maruojia said. That's right, the others nodded. Let him go to the sacred mountain, the foreign race king said. Things were a little out of his expectations. Originally, he wanted to let the foreign races attack Lu Ming. Let Lu Ming feel the strength of the foreign races' experts, and let Lu Ming feel despair and submit. However, he didn't expect that the foreign races would be the ones being attacked. Lu Ming had displayed his invincible might and defeated many foreign race experts, causing many of them to suffer a heavy blow. This had allowed Lu Ming to accumulate more confidence, which was something they didn't want to see. Maruojia nodded, and then his voice was transmitted out. His voice rang in the ears of Mo, Tianluo, Mo Ping, and Storm. Let him go to the sacred mountain. Mo Tianluo and the others' eyes lit up. That's right, let Lu Ming go to the sacred mountain. There were countless experts there, and there were plenty of people to deal with Lu Ming. Lu Ming, don't be arrogant. Our race has 10 royal families and 10 royal cities. This is just one of the 10 royal cities. Moreover, most of our experts are cultivating in seclusion in the sacred mountain. If you're capable, go to the sacred mountain. Mo Tianluo shouted. That's right. If you're capable, go to the sacred mountain. I'll show you the strength of our race. At that time, you'll understand what it means to be an expert. Mo Ping also shouted. That's right, that's right. If you're capable, go to the sacred mountain. At the side, the other foreign races also shouted. Sacred mountain? Lead the way. Lu Ming said directly. It seemed like the sacred mountain held a high position in the hearts of the foreign races, and a large number of experts were gathered there. It was an important place for the foreign races. Lu Ming wanted to take a look and see how many experts there were in the foreign races. If he could escape in the future, he would be more confident. Chapter 24:18. Lu Ming, follow me to Saint Mountain. Mo Tianluo spoke before turning around and flying in a certain direction. Lu Ming did not say a word as he followed. As for Jia Yi, he did not utter a word as he followed Lu Ming not far away. As long as Lu Ming's life was not in danger, he would not make a move. Let's go, I want to take a look too. Great, I want to go too. The surrounding foreign tribes were all very curious. They wanted to see what kind of storm Lu Ming would stir up after arriving at the sacred mountain. One had to know that the top experts on the longevity list were all in Saint Mountain. If Lu Ming went to Saint Mountain, he would definitely clash with those existences. They did not believe that Lu Ming could keep winning. Immediately, a large group of people followed behind Lu Ming as they flew forward. Soon, they flew out of Monarch City and headed west. Saint Mountain was west of Monarch City and also the center of the entire evil god realm. Mo Tianluo was leading the way at the front. His speed was neither fast nor slow. Lu Ming wasn't in a hurry either. In the end, he simply took out a puppet. He sat on the puppet and got the puppet to hurry on their way. He was fully focused on comprehending various laws and strived to achieve perfection in all laws as soon as possible so that he could step into the Arch realm. Mo Ping and Storm turned into two streams of light and flew towards the west, disappearing from everyone's sight. It was very likely that they had rushed to St. Mountain in advance to make preparations. Just like that, after flying for a month, they arrived at a plain. Mo Tianluo's speed became even slower as Lu Ming realized that all the foreign races had a solemn look on their faces. There was also reverence, or a kind of reverence. After flying for a while, a huge mountain appeared in front of them. It was a huge mountain that truly embodied the meaning of the word huge. It was an incomparably majestic and huge mountain. This mountain did not have any vegetation, but even from far away, one could feel the majesty of this mountain. The mountain was so tall that it reached the depths of the sky. Its peak could not be seen. As they got closer, they realized that the area it occupied was even larger. Lu Ming had never seen such a huge mountain before. That is, as they approached, Lu Ming discovered that the number of outsiders at the foot of the mountain was astonishing. Countless outsiders could be seen sitting cross-legged on the Sage Mountain, apparently in the midst of cultivation. There was a wide mountain path from the foot of the sacred mountain all the way to the top. There were also numerous outsiders who were slowly making their way up the mountain path. After reaching a certain height, they would sit down cross-legged on some rocks or find a random spot to sit down cross-legged and meditate. The entire Sage Mountain was filled with outsiders, and their numbers were shocking to say the least. With a casual glance, Lu Ming discovered over 1 million outsiders, and this was only a corner of the holy mountain. It was impossible to say how many outsiders there were on the sacred mountain. Most shockingly, these outsiders were all experts. The weakest ones were all in the Saint realm. Above that was the martial emperor realm. Lu Ming saw at least 100,000 martial emperors and 10,000 true emperors. It was just a small corner. Yet there were already so many experts. How many experts were there in the entire holy mountain? Terrifying, truly terrifying. Lu Ming's face changed and became extremely solemn. Seeing Lu Ming's face change, Mo Tianluo revealed a carefree expression and flew over. Lu Ming, let me tell you, the sacred mountain is where our sacred ancestor resides. At the highest point of the mountain, our sacred ancestor resides. Your sacred ancestor resides in the sacred mountain? Lu Ming could not help but ask. Of course, our sacred ancestor resides at the peak of the sacred mountain. Hence, the entire sacred mountain is the best place for our tribe to cultivate. When we cultivate on the sacred mountain, we will be influenced by the sacred ancestor's aura. Over time, not only will our cultivation increase, but our bloodline will also be purified, bringing us closer to the sacred ancestor and making our bloodline purer. Mo Tianluo said proudly. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. No wonder there were so many experts gathered on the sacred mountain. The sacred ancestor of the outsiders was definitely an unimaginable existence. He might even surpass the heavenly emperor. If so, what was the relationship between sacred ancestor Sha Xian and the sacred ancestor of the outsiders? Lu Ming's heart was filled with more doubts. Let me tell you, there are many caves dug out on the sacred mountain. Many of our tribe members have turned into ascetic cultivators. For countless years, they have been cultivating in those caves. I don't know how many of them there are. Also, the higher you go, the higher your cultivation. Near the peak of the mountain, there are many heavenly emperors cultivating diligently. The number is beyond your imagination. Now you know the strength of our tribe. Only a small portion of our tribe is attacking the Tai Ching sky domain. If the entire army were to attack, the Tai Ching sky domain would be reduced to dust in an instant. Mo Tianluo said proudly. Lu Ming was indeed shocked. The number of experts of the outsiders on the sacred mountain was indeed terrifying to the extreme. It was beyond his expectations. Standing from afar, he could feel the terrifying aura of the entire sacred mountain. Although these auras were very obscure, Lu Ming had cultivated 81 types of laws. It was as if he was about to merge with heaven and earth. His perception was also astonishingly strong. He could clearly feel the aura. Those auras were filled with astonishing pressure. They were all heavenly emperors. The number of them made Lu Ming feel apprehensive. The entire sacred mountain was like a terrifying weapon of the martial emperor. It gave people a terrifying pressure. It was as if they would be crushed to dust at any time. Mo Tianluo was right. The strength of the outsiders outside the two-world city could not be compared to the sacred mountain. If the experts of the outsiders on the sacred mountain were to attack together, the Tai-Ching sky domain would be reduced to dust in an instant. Impossible, impossible. If that was the case, the outsiders would have already breached the two-world city and the Tai-Ching sky domain. They would not have waited until now. Maybe my heaven domain also has hidden forces. It's just that I have not seen it yet. Also, maybe there are other reasons. If it could be destroyed, the heaven domain would have been destroyed by the outsiders long ago. Lu Ming's mind raced, and he thought of many things in an instant. He told himself to be more at ease. His mood finally improved. Mo Tianluo smiled coldly and walked towards the sacred mountain. When they approached the sacred mountain, a few streams of light flew out from the sacred mountain. Two of them were Feng Feng and Mo Ping. Other than them, there were 3 other young men. Of course, they looked young. They were definitely not young. It's the 3 people on the longevity list. They are ranked 65, 59, and 43 respectively. Someone at the side said, recognizing the 3 of them. Most of the top experts on the longevity list are indeed at the sacred mountain. 3 of them came at once. Now, it's enough to take care of Lu Ming and let him know the power of our race. That's right. Seeing the 3 young men, many of the outsiders were excited. They had followed for so long because they wanted to see Lu Ming get beaten up. He's the human who defeated you? One of the young men stepped out and looked coldly at Lu Ming. His eyes were extremely sharp. Looks like he's not that great. I can easily defeat him. Chapter 2419. The 3 of them were ranked 65th, 59th, and 43rd on the longevity roll, respectively. They were very powerful, far above Storm and Mo Ping. They were definitely at least a 3-star Great Emperor, or even a 4-star Great Emperor. Of course, they had been cultivating for a long time, at least longer than Lu Ming. They had been cultivating for at least a few thousand years. The 3 of them were very confident. They stepped out and surrounded Lu Ming, oppressing him. The surrounding people retreated, giving them enough distance to fight. All of you, come at me together. Lu Ming glanced at the 3 of them and said indifferently, "What?" Everyone was stunned. Lu Ming wanted to fight the 3 of them alone? How arrogant. What an arrogant human. This is the first time I've seen such an arrogant human. One of the 3 young men licked his lips, his eyes cold. He wants to challenge the 3 of us at the same time. Who does he think he is? What do you mean? Of course we'll agree to it. I'll beat him up until he can't take care of himself. The 3 experts on the longevity roll sneered, their eyes becoming more and more ferocious. Since Lu Ming was looking for a beating, they would naturally fulfill his wish. The 3 young men moved and surrounded Lu Ming in the middle. Almost at the same time, they struck. 3 different types of attacks were launched toward Lu Ming. The power was extremely shocking. Lu Ming judged their strength as soon as the 3 of them attacked. 2 of them were 4-star Great Emperors and 1 was a 3-star Great Emperor. Under normal circumstances, such a lineup would have no problem dealing with someone who had cultivated for less than 200 years. However, they had encountered Lu Ming. That was a problem. 1. Lu Ming's muscles suddenly vibrated and his body rushed out like a cannonball, charging at one of them. Whoosh! Lu Ming grabbed out with his big hand, and the other party's attack was destroyed by Lu Ming. Then his hand did not stop and grabbed at the other party's throat. Fast! Too fast! Lu Ming's palm was unbelievably fast. Before the other party could react, Lu Ming had already grabbed him by the neck. Then he swung it with all his might, and it smashed into the ground like a meteor. Boom! The ground trembled, and the other party cried out miserably. It was unknown just how many of his bones were broken, and he was truly unable to take care of himself. However, the ground in this place was extremely sturdy. Even after smashing into the ground, it only managed to create a shallow crater. At this time, the other two's attacks were about to land on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's figure flashed, directly dodging the two's attacks, and then attacked one of them. The man was slightly surprised, but he did not panic. The one that Lu Ming had easily defeated was the weakest among the three of them. He was only a 3-star Great Emperor, while Lu Ming was a 4-star Great Emperor. A 4-star Great Emperor was already a high-level Great Emperor. Their battle prowess was far beyond that of a 3-star Great Emperor. Meteor Fist. He roared angrily. His fist was like a meteor as it blasted towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Boom! At the same time, Lu Ming also threw out a punch, and the two fists collided heavily. Crack! When the two fists collided, the alien youth's arm was directly bent, and the bones inside were broken. The scales on his skin flew everywhere, and his body shook violently as he frantically retreated. His eyes were filled with deep fear. He felt that Lu Ming's strength was too strong. It was as if he could topple mountains and trample seas. It was simply impossible to resist. Not good. Then he was shocked and quickly retreated because Lu Ming had attacked again. However, how could his speed be compared to Lu Ming's? When he retreated, Lu Ming had already arrived. Crushing, it was a complete crushing. Although the alien youth tried his best to resist, he only managed to block 2 moves before he followed in the footsteps of the previous person. His throat was clasped by Lu Ming, and he was thrown to the ground, unable to move. Although it took a long time to describe, all of this happened in an instant. In an instant, 2 experts on the longevity list were crushed by Lu Ming. The remaining one was almost scared to death. It was fine if it was the 3-star Great Emperor, but now, even a 4-star Great Emperor was crushed. He panicked. He decisively retreated, like a stream of light. You want to leave? Lu Ming sneered. His muscles trembled and space exploded. Lu Ming rushed towards the other party, instantly closing in on him. The other party tried his best to resist, but the result was already decided. After 2 moves, he crashed to the ground like a meteor, unable to move. The surrounding aliens' eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Looking at the 3 experts on the longevity list lying on the ground in a row, they felt that it was unreal, as if they were dreaming. Those were 3 experts on the longevity list, and their rankings weren't low, but they couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. In just a few moves, the 3 of them were lying on the ground like dead dogs. Terrifying. They finally knew how terrifying Lu Ming's strength was. He hadn't used his full strength before. Perhaps he hadn't used his full strength now. Just how strong was Lu Ming? Mo Tianluo, Mo Ping, Storm, and the others turned pale. Lu Ming's strength was really beyond their imagination. The commotion here also alarmed some of the experts on the sacred mountain. Quite a number of people flew over. There were more and more people here. When the people behind found out about the situation, they were also shocked. With such strength, don't tell me your so-called longevity list doesn't have stronger experts. Lu Ming said, his voice filled with faint contempt. All the aliens' faces were ugly. The vast fiend god realm had countless experts, but now they were being mocked by a human youth at the edge of the sacred mountain for having no experts. This was too shameful and humiliating. This kid is courting death. Let me slap him to death. An extremely powerful expert from the sacred mountain said with a ferocious look on his face. But Jia emitted a terrifying aura that scared that person away. The kings have ordered that this person can't die. The rest doesn't matter. Jia Yi's voice sounded, causing many to stop. They naturally understood what the kings meant. The kings were referring to the kings of the 10 noble races. What was Lu Ming's background? He actually made the kings give the order that he couldn't die. This made all the aliens even more curious. No one else wants to fight. How disappointing. Lu Ming continued, causing many aliens to feel stifled. They really felt that Lu Ming was asking for a beating. Many powerful existences really wanted to go out and beat Lu Ming up. This guy is very strong. In my opinion, unless the top 20 on the longevity list makes a move, I'm afraid those below that rank won't be his match. Good. Let's spread the news at the sacred mountain. Those in the top 20 will definitely rush over when they hear it. That's right. Many people discussed and then flew towards the sacred mountain. Lu Ming, if you have the guts, wait here. There will naturally be experts coming to fight you. Emo Tianluo stared at Lu Ming and said, "As you wish." Chapter 2420. Regarding Lu Ming's matter, it spread rapidly on the holy mountain. A human youth actually has the orders of various kings. Can't die. Interesting. Furthermore, his combat power is shockingly strong. Go take a look. On the holy mountain, such discussions were everywhere. Then one figure after another flew out of the holy mountain, arriving near Lu Ming they all. There were even heavenly emperor realm powerhouses descending. "La Bu, it's La Bu!" Suddenly, someone cried out. Everyone saw a youth come over from the holy mountain, standing in the air. This person was a foreign race royal. He had a head of purple hair, but his appearance was ordinary. His figure was thin, his expression cold, eyes pale gold. When they opened and closed, cold light circulated. After he arrived, his gaze swept over Lu Ming, revealing a strong fighting spirit. La Bu is ranked 19th on the longevity list. Cultivating until now, he's only cultivated for over 3,700 years. He's definitely a rare heaven's pride. That's right, with La Bu making a move, that kid will lose for sure. You all look, Kuei Ju also came. Everyone was discussing when suddenly an even stronger cry of surprise erupted. A youth appeared high in the sky. This youth was also a foreign race royal. But different from La Bu, he was very handsome, his skin like jade, even more beautiful than women. Seeing this youth, graveness and fear flashed across La Bu's pale gold eyes. Kuei Ju was ranked 9th on the longevity list, a full 10 places higher than La Bu. His strength was a great deal stronger. The Kuei Ju in the top 10 of the longevity list is all here. This time, see how that human brat is arrogant. That's right, this time the one being beaten into a dead dog will be him. Really looking forward to it. Everyone was incomparably anticipating, looking forward to the following battle. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was indifferent to all of this. He had a carefree look on his face as he closed his eyes and rested. Following that, more and more experts came here. Dozens of experts from the longevity ranking had come. 7 or 8 of the top 20 had come, and even a few of the top 10 had come. Lu Ming, you're still pretending to be calm there. Now that the experts have already arrived, do you dare to fight or not? Emo Tianluo cried out. Among the people present, no one was more eager to see Lu Ming get beaten up than he was. He couldn't wait to see Lu Ming get beaten up. Is everyone here? I'm afraid that it'll be another bunch of weaklings who can't even withstand a single blow. Why don't we wait a little longer? Lu Ming opened his eyes and said casually. The experts on the 10,000 years, ranking almost coughed up blood. Their bodies were filled with fighting spirit, and their eyes were burning with anger. Don't think that you're invincible just because you've defeated a few people. Let me take you on." With a furious roar, a burly alien charged towards Lu Ming. Everyone immediately recognized that this person was an expert ranked 32nd on the 10,000 years list. His battle prowess was extremely profound. Boom! Lu Ming also rushed out and threw out a punch. Lu Ming's fist contained a shocking amount of power, directly destroying his opponent's attack and causing him to cough up blood as he was sent flying. "I've already said, you can't even withstand a single blow," Lu Ming said disdainfully. He didn't want to dilly-dally, so he directly displayed his powerful strength so that the weaker ones wouldn't dare to go up. The experts on the 10,000 years ranking focused their eyes. Lu Ming did have some ability. "I'll take you on." A voice sounded. Then a skinny figure stepped out. Everyone recognized that it was La Bu, ranked 19 on the 10,000 years ranking. Finally, the top 20 experts on the 10,000 years ranking were about to make a move. Everyone was filled with anticipation. "Make your move," Lu Ming said indifferently. Swish! Before Lu Ming's voice fell, La Bu moved. His speed was astonishing as he rushed towards Lu Ming. Every step he took caused the void to tremble. His speed became faster and faster. When he approached Lu Ming, his speed was extremely fast. Whoosh! His palm was like a blade as he slashed towards Lu Ming with shocking power. However, the most shocking thing was yet to come. When his palm was about to reach Lu Ming, his palm suddenly changed. His palm was like mercury. It suddenly elongated and wriggled, turning into a battle saber. It slashed toward Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. What kind of move is this? Lu Ming's eyes moved and his muscles trembled. His figure quickly retreated, avoiding the opponent's blade. However, when Lu Ming retreated, the opponent's palm actually changed again, wriggling rapidly and turning into a soft whip with barbs on it. It lashed towards Lu Ming. "You can do this." Lu Ming was extremely surprised and struck out with his palm. Dong! When his palm struck the soft whip, it was as if he had struck a huge mountain, causing a violent tremor. A 5-star great sovereign. Lu Ming's heart trembled. The opponent's cultivation was equivalent to a 5-star great sovereign. However, the opponent was definitely a genius among geniuses for being able to cultivate to this level in a few thousand years. His combat strength was extremely shocking and definitely could not be measured by an ordinary 5-star great sovereign. Lu Ming's physical strength alone was still not a match for the opponent. After the collision, Lu Ming kept retreating. Lu Ming is no match for him. Ha ha ha, I knew that La Bu would win for sure. Come on, teach that kid a lesson. How dare a human be so arrogant in our world? The surrounding foreign tribes were extremely excited. Mo, Tianluo, Storm, and the rest were also excited. After pushing Lu Ming back with one blow, La Bu's other hand slashed towards Lu Ming. His other hand had also turned into a weapon, a battle sword, and slashed towards Lu Ming. It seems like I need to use the power of laws, Lu Ming muttered. Then, rays of light appeared on his body one after another. There were more than 10 rays of light that covered Lu Ming's body. It was like a colorful armor on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming used the mutated version of the chaotic divine palm as both of his palms struck towards La Bu. Bam, bam, bam. The two of them clashed continuously, causing loud explosions. La Bu's attacking style was extremely strange. His hands were like mercury, and he could transform into various weapons at will. The key was that his attacks were extremely powerful, and it was impossible to guard against them. However, Lu Ming had unleashed his power of the autonomous realm and more than 10 types of power of laws. His combat strength had increased tremendously, and he was slightly suppressing his opponent. The reason why Lu Ming did not unleash his full strength to defeat his opponent was that Lu Ming felt that these foreign tribes' techniques were extremely strange and mysterious, and he wanted to see more of them. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 10 blows, and Lu Ming had gained the upper hand. Around them, the other foreign tribes did not speak, and their faces were filled with depression. La Bu was actually at a disadvantage. Those who thought that La Bu would win earlier felt that they had lost face. At this moment, La Bu's heart was filled with anxiety. Suddenly, his attacks changed. He actually dashed toward Lu Ming head-on, adopting a desperate fighting style. However, what shocked Lu Ming was that when Lu Ming charged out, his head, like his hands, changed rapidly and spikes grew out. Chapter 24-21. Dong! Lu Ming's palm struck La Bu's head. It was as if he had struck a giant hammer. A powerful force surged towards Lu Ming. Following that, La Bu's waist seemed to have no bones as he bent into a terrifying arc. His legs were like 2 blades as they slashed towards Lu Ming. The angle was extremely strange and tricky. If an ordinary person was not careful, they would probably not be able to avoid it. Lu Ming displayed the 6-feathered divine wings, coupled with the vibration of his muscles. His speed was extremely fast. In a flash, he dodged the other party's attack. Your entire body can be transformed into a weapon. Interesting. However, this battle should end soon. Lu Ming muttered. The light on his body increased by a few more types. Reincarnation / Lu Ming shouted. His palms seemed to be moving water as they danced in the air. In the void, an incomparably huge vortex appeared. This was a divine ability that Lu Ming had created himself. Over the years, Lu Ming had mastered 10 types of supreme laws and 71 types of monarch laws. With so many laws intertwined, countless divine abilities could be produced. Over the years, Lu Ming had also made many attempts and developed some strange divine abilities. However, these divine abilities had different characteristics, and the number of laws they contained was also different. Some contained more than 10 types, some more than 20 types, some more than 30 types. The more laws they contained, the stronger the power. However, he had not developed a divine ability that contained 81 types of laws. This was too difficult and required a long time to study. This reincarnation / was a divine ability that contained more than 10 types of laws. Among them, one was based on the reincarnation law. The other 2 types of supreme laws and 12 types of monarch laws were included. A huge vortex that contained a terrifying cutting force rotated crazily and enveloped La Bu. La Bu resisted with all his might. His body transformed into various weapons and attacked horizontally. However, at this moment, Lu Ming rushed over and attacked consecutively. La Bu finally could not resist and was struck by Lu Ming's consecutive palms. His body shook violently and his body was sent flying thousands of miles. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face was pale. La Bu was defeated. Many people looked at each other. This human lad was way too strong, wasn't he? Most importantly, they had heard that Lu Ming had only cultivated for less than 200 years. How could he be so strong in less than 200 years? In the depths of the sky, there were also some people watching. If others saw this, they would definitely be shocked, because in here, any one of them could make the evil god realm tremble with just a stomp of their feet. The reason for that was because these people were the kings that other people spoke of. The evil god race was the king of the 10 great royal races. However, not all of them came, only 5 of them. Each of these 5 was a pinnacle powerhouse of this world, incomparably terrifying. When Lu Ming arrived at the Sage Mountain, these terrifying experts were very curious and came to watch. After all, Lu Ming had the bloodline of sacred ancestor Sha Hexe. This brat is actually this strong. It's really unexpected. This kind of genius has ambitions higher than the heavens. It's difficult to make him feel despair. Indeed, this kind of people all have great luck. They are very confident. No matter what kind of situation they face, they firmly believe that they can escape. The outsider kings discussed among themselves. They knew very well what kind of person Lu Ming was. because they themselves were such people. Otherwise, how could they stand at the peak of the world? There's no other way. At this point, we can only continue down. There will definitely be someone on the longevity ranking who can suppress him. An old man said. That's right. The outsider kings nodded in agreement. They seemed to be very confident in one of the people on the 10,000 years ranking. Below. You have some ability, but unfortunately, it's still not enough. Next. Lu Ming glanced at La Bu and said indifferently. The youths present looked at each other. They were all experts ranked between 10th and 20th on the longevity ranking. But if they were to fight, they weren't certain that they could win. Although they were stronger than La Bu, they weren't much stronger. They were afraid that if Lu Ming had held back just now, they would most likely lose if they went up. Therefore, they were somewhat hesitant. Let me, Kuei Ju said. His figure flickered, and he appeared in front of Lu Ming. This made many people's eyes light up. Kuei Ju was an expert ranked 9th on the longevity ranking. Those in the top 10 of the longevity ranking were all freaks and shockingly powerful. With Kuei Ju taking action, they were relieved. You're Lu Ming? Kuei Ju looked at Lu Ming. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. I've never heard of an expert like you in the human race. Kuei Ju smiled, looking incomparably handsome. If he were in the human race, countless girls would fall for him. Lu Ming smiled casually and didn't say anything. I don't want to fight fiercely with you. That's what ordinary people do. How about we decide the victor in 3 moves? Kuei Ju said. 3 moves to determine the victor? Lu Ming said. That's right. If I can't defeat you in 3 moves, it'll be my loss. However, there's a rule. You can't dodge. You can only meet force with force. How about it? Kuei Ju said, a wisp of cunning flashing in his eyes. Okay. Lu Ming had a bright smile on his face. This kid actually agreed. Haha, this time he's going to lose even more. He actually agreed to meet force with force with force. He's going to lose for sure. The other foreign races laughed wildly in their hearts, revealing a relaxed expression, thinking that Lu Ming was going to lose. Lu Ming didn't know how powerful Kuei Ju was. Lu Ming naturally saw the reactions of the people around him. However, would Lu Ming be afraid? Want to defeat him in 3 moves? Lu Ming was confident that no one below the Heavenly Emperor could do it. Make your move. Lu Ming's voice sounded, and the scene fell silent. Everyone stared with their eyes wide open, waiting for the moment when Lu Ming was defeated. Boom! Kuei Ju's body emitted a powerful aura. 6-star Great Emperor. Kuei Ju's cultivation had already reached 6-star Great Emperor. At this moment, his body emitted a purple light that was incomparably dazzling. Then, pieces of purple scales appeared on his skin. The foreign race's royal race was very similar to the human race. They didn't have any scales on their bodies. However, at this moment, purple scales appeared on Kuei Ju's body once again. Countless scales covered Kuei Ju's body. It's coming. Kuei Ju is going to use this move. Lu Ming is going to lose for sure. Mo Tianluo's eyes were filled with excitement. Lu Ming didn't know, but they knew very well. Kuei Ju's strongest point was his explosive power. Kuei Ju had an ultimate move. When used, it consumed a lot of energy, but its power was boundless. The instant explosive power was used. Even experts ranked higher than him on the longevity list wouldn't dare to meet it head-on. They could only dodge. However, Kuei Ju could only use this ultimate move a few times. Hence, he had set a 3-move agreement with Lu Ming. Chapter 24-22. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, Kuei Ju finally attacked. He shouted, and at least 3/10 of the purple scales on his body flew out and flew toward Lu Ming. These scales were like small flying daggers. They were incomparably sharp, and their might was extremely shocking. They sliced the space into chaos. Buzz! Lu Ming's muscles trembled, and the power of his physical body was pushed to the extreme by him. At the same time, Lu Ming also used the indestructible golden body. Lu Ming had successfully cultivated the 18 kinds of laws contained in the indestructible ancient scripture. Lu Ming even tried to make changes to the indestructible ancient sutra. He added several laws to it so that the indestructible ancient sutra's prowess would become stronger. Its recovery ability and defensibility would also become more shocking. Lu Ming didn't fight back at all, letting the scales cut his body. Clang! 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 Sparks flew in all directions. When those scales cut Lu Ming's body, there were constant clanging sounds. It was extremely ear-piercing. However, none of the scales could break Lu Ming's defense. The scales flew past, but Lu Ming was completely fine. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Many people knew how terrifying Kuei Ju's move was. Those scales were 100 times, 1,000 times sharper than real flying knives. Once they were unleashed, they would be invincible. Even some people on the longevity list who were ranked higher than Kuei Ju didn't dare to take them head-on. They could only think of ways to avoid them. However, Lu Ming didn't fight back at all. He just stood there and let Kuei Ju attack, but he couldn't break Lu Ming's defense. How was this possible? What was going on? Many people were stunned. Kuei Ju was stunned. After a long while, everyone reacted. I don't believe it. Watch me break your defense. All of you! Kuei Ju roared and pushed his hands. The purple light on his body was incomparably bright, and all the scales burst out. Countless scales, all like flying knives, were densely packed, and there were thousands of them. Lu Ming still didn't move, letting the thousands of scales cut his body. Clang! Clang! The ear-piercing sounds continued to ring out. After the concentrated sounds had died down, Lu Ming was still standing there, completely unharmed. There was not a single scar on his body. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This kind of defensive power was too terrifying. There's no power at all. Are you playing house? Lu Ming's disdainful voice sounded, and Kuei Ju's face turned red. The attack that he was so proud of was called Child's Play by Lu Ming. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. The third move. Kuei Ju roared furiously as he waved his hands. Several thousand scales gathered together and connected with each other. Finally, they formed a huge flying dagger. The power of this flying knife was several times stronger than the scattered scales. The attack power was completely concentrated. Whoosh! The throwing knife flew towards Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. The power of this flying knife was enough to threaten him. Lu Ming's body constantly shone with light. In the end, Lu Ming used more than 40 types of laws. More than 40 types of laws condensed in Lu Ming's hand, forming a long spear. Whoosh! Lu Ming stabbed out with a spear. The two sharp lights met in the air, erupting with a dazzling light. Rings of light were more dazzling than the sun. Bang! In the end, Lu Ming's body trembled slightly, and he retreated a few steps. On the other hand, the flying daggers condensed by Kuei Ju simply collapsed, turning into pieces of purple scales that flew in all directions. They then flew back into Kuei Ju's body and disappeared. Kuei Ju kept retreating, his blood and chi surging, and his face was pale. 3 moves, Lu Ming said indifferently, and Kuei Ju's face turned pale again. According to the agreement, if he did not defeat Lu Ming in 3 moves, it would be considered his loss. I lost. Kuei Ju sighed and retreated. In fact, even if he did not admit defeat, he was not Lu Ming's match. He had used his strongest move, but still could not do anything to Lu Ming. If they continued to fight, the result would be the same. Even Kuei Ju lost. Many of the foreign races had ugly expressions. Lu Ming's combat strength was unfathomable, as if there was no limit to it. Starting from Mo Tianluo, he had swept through all the battles. No matter how strong they would only be defeated. What should we do? Many people turned to look at the foreign race youths. These people were ranked above Kuei Ju on the longevity list. However, at this moment, they all looked at each other with solemn expressions. For a moment, no one made a move. Although Kuei Ju's ranking was lower than theirs, his explosive power was not inferior to theirs. In fact, he was even stronger than them. Their overall combat strength was above Kuei Ju's. But if they were to take 3 moves from Kuei Ju like Lu Ming, they would be the ones to lose. Under such circumstances, even Kuei Ju had been defeated. Could they defeat Lu Ming? They had no confidence at all. The other foreign races were also silent. Could it be that no one could suppress Lu Ming? Could it be that the celestial emperors had to take action? However, a celestial emperor had cultivated for who knew how many years. If he took action against a junior like Lu Ming, it would be too embarrassing. Even if he won, it would be an unfair victory. I didn't expect a human who has cultivated for less than 200 years to have such combat strength. I'm itching to test my skills. At this moment, a chuckle was heard. Following that, a young figure appeared in the air. Seeing this person, Lu Ming was slightly taken aback, because this foreign race was somewhat different from the ones Lu Ming had seen before. This outsider looked very similar to a human. However, he was different from the royals of the outsider races. He had a head of fiery red hair and a third eye between his brows. It was scarlet like a small sun. Especially on his back, there was a pair of fiery red wings. There were even flames burning fiercely. This was the first time Lu Ming had seen such a foreign race. "It's Prince Kong Duo." Someone cried out in surprise. "Prince? It seems that Kong Duo is also a foreign race royalty. It seems that there's more than one kind of appearance." Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Prince Kong Duo is actually here. Prince Kong Duo is ranked 2nd on the longevity list. He's going to attack. It's been many years since I've seen Prince Kong Duo attack. At least a few hundred years. This time I'm in for a treat. Many of the foreign races discussed in surprise. Kong Duo had a gentle smile on his face. He nodded at the crowd, then flapped his wings and flew toward Lu Ming. "To have your strength after cultivating for less than 200 years. To be honest, I've never seen anyone like you. Even that guy spent more time than you to reach your combat strength." Kong Duo smiled. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Who was the guy Kong Duo was talking about? Kong Duo, go all out. You must defeat him. At this moment, a voice sounded in Kong Duo's ears. "Father." Chapter 24-23. Kong Duo was shocked. He did not expect his father to be near the sacred mountain and pay attention to this matter. His father had even given him an order to defeat Lu Ming. Who was his father? He was the king of one of the 10 great royal families. Why would he pay attention to Lu Ming? What is this kid's background? Kong Duo's heart was filled with doubt, but his eyes flashed with determination. He must defeat Lu Ming. Nodding silently, Kong Duo looked at Lu Ming. "Lu Ming, make your move." Kong Duo's 3 eyes emitted a fiery red light. At the same time, blazing flames spread out from his body. With a flap of his wings, swoosh, Kong Duo charged toward Lu Ming like a bolt of fiery red lightning. In the process, a battle sword appeared in his hand. It was sparkling and translucent like fire jade. He slashed at Lu Ming. "Peak, Great Emperor." As soon as Kong Duo attacked, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Kong Duo was a peak Great Emperor. Moreover, Kong Duo was not an ordinary peak Great Emperor. He was a genius, and his combat strength was stronger than ordinary peak Great Emperors. Compared to the human race, he was equivalent to a peak Great Emperor who had mastered the strongest great Tao. Such a person's strength was unquestionable. He was almost invincible below the heavenly emperor. Open, Lu Ming muttered as he unleashed all the strength in his body. Rays of light flashed on his body, one after another. They were all types of laws. In total, 81 types of laws were unleashed. In an instant, Lu Ming unleashed all the strength in his body to the maximum. If it was before he came to the foreign race, when Lu Ming had only mastered a dozen types of laws, he would not be a match for a peak great emperor with his own strength. Just like in the void sacred island, when he encountered a peak great emperor, he had to rely on his heavenly emperor physical body to fight against the enemy. However, it was different now. Even though his flesh had not improved, he had mastered 81 kinds of laws. Thus his strength had improved significantly. He was confident that he could take on a peak martial monarch. The 81 laws finally transformed into a suit of primal chaos that covered Lu Ming's body. At the same time, the great desolate spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Whoa! Lu Ming swept out with his spear, causing space to explode. The great desolate spear emitted a terrifying vibration as it collided with Kong Duo's battle sword. Boom! It was as if two stars had collided, erupting with a terrifying rumble and blazing light. Following that, both of their bodies trembled as they retreated continuously. What terrifying power! The power of that flame even surpasses the laws and the great Tao. It can burn everything. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The temperature of his opponent's flames was shockingly high, even though he had a battle suit condensed from 81 types of nomological laws. It was almost burned to ashes. But he didn't know that Kong Duo was also shocked. In the entire evil god realm, below the heavenly emperor, there were only a handful of people who could take him on. However, Lu Ming's cultivation had not reached the peak martial monarch level, and yet he could block his attack. Both of their minds were racing, but their bodies did not stop moving. As they retreated, both of them stepped on the void and charged towards each other again. Boom! 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 The two of them engaged in a fierce battle, killing each other crazily. The space was torn apart by the two of them, and no one dared to stay within 100,000 miles. Such a battle was too terrifying. Other than the heavenly emperor, if anyone else was dragged into it, they would only die. The two of them fought in the dark void at times and in the sky at other times. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 100 moves, and it was difficult to determine the victor. So terrifying. All the foreign races were shocked. Lu Ming was actually able to fight with Kong Duo to this extent. It was really too shocking. It was especially so for Mo Tianluo, who was extremely shocked. Among everyone, he felt it the most as he had fought with Lu Ming in the past. But now, if Lu Ming were to give it his all, he could crush him with a finger. Deep in the sky, the few foreign race kings were silent as they watched without blinking. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 200 moves. Awesome! Lu Ming roared as his eyes were filled with fighting spirit. His muscles were trembling in excitement. It had been more than 100 years since he had fought to his heart's content. In his bones, he was still fond of fighting and killing. Only in battle could he improve faster. In the battle with Kong Duo, he could unleash all of his strength to the fullest. Reincarnation slash. Death abyss. Chaos crush. Space-time cage. Karma cycle. Destiny heavenly wheel. Lu Ming's body flickered as he unleashed all kinds of terrifying divine abilities. These divine abilities were created by Lu Ming over the years by combining various laws. They were extremely powerful. Every divine ability had a different effect, and when combined together, they were extremely useful. The more they fought, the stronger Lu Ming became. He was also more familiar with the use of various divine abilities and slowly gained the upper hand. Kong Duo was suppressed and was forced to retreat. Is that all you've got? How disappointing. Lu Ming's voice rang out, causing Kong Duo's face to turn ugly. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Furnace of incineration. Kong Duo roared as his third eye suddenly exploded with a blazing radiance. His third eye turned into a fiery, red whirlpool that spun rapidly. Inside it, there was a terrifying heat. In addition, there was a terrifying suction force that was trying to suck Lu Ming in. Whoa! Lu Ming's muscles trembled rapidly. At the same time, he used the 6 feathered divine wings in an attempt to escape from this suction force. This suction force was so strong that Lu Ming couldn't escape for a while. Come in. Kong Duo roared as his entire body was covered in blazing flames. He rushed towards Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. The closer he got to Lu Ming, the stronger the suction force in his third eye. Through that eye, Lu Ming could even see a flaming furnace inside, and flames were burning fiercely. Get in, Kong Duo roared. Let's see if you have the ability. Lu Ming said coldly. His long spear shook and exploded the void, tearing apart the suction force. Then he quickly retreated and avoided Kong Duo. However, Kong Duo's speed was also astonishing. He chased after Lu Ming, making it difficult for Lu Ming to escape. Even Kong Duo's body slowly melted, turning into rays of light that flew into his third eye. In the end, Kong Duo's body completely disappeared and flew into his third eye. Then a furnace appeared in the air. Whoa! The furnace shook and rapidly expanded. In the end, it was even larger than hundreds of giant mountains. It suppressed Lu Ming and sealed the void. An even more terrifying suction force acted on Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming's body to stiffen. Swish! Chapter 24:24. Kong Duo transformed into a giant furnace and swallowed Lu Ming. Seeing Lu Ming being swallowed into the furnace, many of the foreign races heaved a sigh of relief. That kid is done for. Incinerating furnace, the strongest technique of Kong Duo's lineage. It's inherited from his bloodline. Once swallowed, he'll be burned to ashes. Look at how arrogant that kid is. He's dead for sure. The foreign races discussed joyfully. Not far away, Jia Yi's eyes flashed. He wanted to help, but he knew that the kings were watching from the sky. If they didn't ask him to help, he naturally wouldn't. Indeed, the kings were watching from the sky. What should we do? Should we save him? He has the bloodline of Saint Ancestor Sha Xan. He can't die, a foreign race king said. I think we should wait and see. He has the bloodline of Saint Ancestor Sha Xan. I don't think he'll die so easily. That's right. Let's wait and see. The other foreign race kings nodded. They felt that it would be best if Lu Ming begged for mercy. As soon as Lu Ming was swallowed into the furnace, he felt endless flames enveloping him, burning fiercely. The terrifying high temperature was about to burn him into ashes. Lu Ming covered his body with 81 types of laws. At the same time, he circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to resist the burning power outside. However, the flames were too terrifying. Even if many types of laws were intertwined, they would still be burned to ashes. One law after another was burned through. It wasn't that Lu Ming's laws weren't powerful, but they were slightly inferior compared to their current combat strength. One had to know that the Emperor realm corresponded to the Great Tao. Therefore, even a mysterious law like the Destiny Law couldn't display its power at this moment. It would also be burned through. Through the laws, waves of terrifying heat flowed through Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's muscles were about to be burned apart. Waves of piercing pain spread throughout Lu Ming's body. His clothes and hair were instantly burned to ashes. Lu Ming circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to resist with all his might. Now, the recovery ability of the indestructible ancient scripture was even more shocking. After his flesh was burned, it immediately recovered, becoming as white as jade. Lu Ming relied on the indestructible ancient scripture to persevere. This furnace is indeed powerful, but it can't do anything to me. I can use the flames here to temper my body. A smile appeared on Lu Ming's face. For more than 100 years, Lu Ming had not found any good heavenly materials or earthly treasures to cultivate his physical body. He had been progressing step by step in the 7 gods' mysterious arts and had reached the peak of the middle stage of the 5th level. However, he had been stuck at a bottleneck. This time he might find an opportunity to make a breakthrough. Lu Ming slightly weakened the power of the indestructible ancient scripture, allowing some of the flames to help temper his body. Chi, chi, chi. Some of the flames spread throughout Lu Ming's body. The terrifying heat seeped into Lu Ming's bones, organs, and even his cells, wanting to burn Lu Ming to ashes. Lu Ming activated the 7 gods' mysterious art and began to refine his body. Just like that, 3 hours passed in the blink of an eye. Outside, countless alien races looked at the furnace in the sky and waited patiently. Has that kid been refined? It's been 3 hours. If an ordinary expert of the same level as Kong Duo was sucked into the furnace, they would be refined in less than half an hour. But Kong Duo didn't stop. That kid shouldn't have been refined yet. It's been so long. Will Kong Duo be able to hold on? Many of the alien races began to discuss the situation, not knowing what was going on. In the blink of an eye, another 2 hours passed. Lu Ming had been sucked into the furnace for 5 hours. Why is the power of the flames getting weaker and weaker? In the furnace, Lu Ming was puzzled. It seems that it takes energy to maintain the furnace's high temperature. Kong Duo won't be able to hold on for much longer, Lu Ming guessed. However, Lu Ming was satisfied. After 5 hours of tempering, Lu Ming's body had made great progress. He felt that his body could break through at any time. Once he broke through, his 7 gods mystic art would reach the late stage of the 5th level. He would be able to suppress an ordinary peak great emperor with his physical strength alone. In addition to the power of the world and the 81 types of laws, Lu Ming's combat strength would skyrocket. After another half an hour, the power of the flames in the furnace became even weaker. It was no longer of much use to Lu Ming's tempering. It's time to go out. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold light. He held the great spear in his hand and rushed to the side. Boom! Lu Ming stabbed the walls of the furnace with his spear. The furnace shook violently. Boom! 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 Lu Ming attacked with all his strength. The furnace shook even more violently, as if it was about to explode. Outside, all the alien races were shocked. Oh no, that kid isn't dead. He's attacking the furnace. How terrifying. He's not dead after so long. What kind of monster is that kid? The furnace can't hold on for much longer. Many of the alien races shouted in shock. Boom! 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 The furnace shook violently. From the outside, one could see that one side of the furnace was constantly bulging. In the end, cracks covered the wall. Boom! In the end, the entire furnace exploded. Waves of heat swept in all directions. A scream spread in all directions. Everyone saw Kong Duo's body fly far away. His face was pale, and his aura was extremely weak. Kong Duo's third eye was already closed, but blood continued to flow out. The furnace was broken, and Kong Duo was seriously injured. Lu Ming held the spear in his hand and stood in the void. His aura was extremely vigorous, and he was completely fine. You've lost, Lu Ming said. Sigh. Kong Duo sighed and did not say anything. He flew to the side and sat down cross-legged. A layer of flames spread out from his body as he began to heal his injuries. The alien races present looked at each other. Kong Duo was actually defeated. Even Kong Duo was not a match for Lu Ming. Then on the longevity list, or rather below the Heavenly Emperor realm, who could be a match for him? Could it be that today the vast evil god realm, the mighty evil god tribe, would be bullied by a human kid? No. Now it seems that below the heavenly emperor realm, only the first prince can suppress him. At this time someone spoke. These words shocked the hearts of all the alien races present, and then their eyes lit up one after another. That's right, only the first prince can make a move. The first prince has the densest bloodline of the sacred ancestor. His talent is the number one in our race since ancient times. He can definitely suppress him. That's right, the first prince has only cultivated for a few hundred years. Voices rang out one after another. Those alien races seemed to be filled with strong confidence in the first prince. First prince? What a strange name. Lu Ming's heart stirred. However, the other party had cultivated for a few hundred years and was actually praised by so many alien races. His talent was astonishing. Lu Ming, the first prince of our race, is on the holy mountain, but he's in seclusion. I'm afraid it will take some time. Do you dare to wait here? Someone shouted. Why not? Chapter 24-25. All right, just you wait. Let me tell you, the first prince of our race is ranked first on the longevity list. Someone said. Then, someone flew towards the sacred mountain, apparently to invite the first prince. Lu Ming, on the other hand, flew to the side and sat cross-legged on a huge rock. The first prince's combat power is definitely above Kong Duo's. With my current strength, I'm afraid I won't be able to defeat him. However, my physical body is about to break through. I might as well take this opportunity to break through in one fell swoop. Lu Ming made up his mind. Then he took out a bunch of imperial herbs and began to cultivate the 7 divine mystic arts. He absorbed the medicinal power of the imperial herbs and tried to break through to the 5th level of the 7 divine mystic arts. After the tempering in the furnace, Lu Ming's body had almost broken through the bottleneck and could break through at any time. At this moment, Lu Ming was cultivating. His body seemed to be very hungry and thirsty as it absorbed the external energy, crazily. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming's physical body seemed to have turned into a black hole, devouring the energy from the outside world. No, it's better to cultivate in the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming thought. Being stared at by so many people made Lu Ming very uncomfortable. With a thought, the mountain and river diagram appeared, and Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and entered the mountain and river diagram. A grotto heaven treasure from the heavenly realm. Many of the foreign races whispered, not caring. With the mountain and river diagram here, Lu Ming could not escape at all. Especially the great emperors, they could break through the attacks of the grotto heaven treasure and attack the people inside. Many of the foreign races were waiting there. The first prince was in seclusion. Even if someone went to invite him, no one knew how long it would take for him to come out. After Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram, he no longer restrained himself and took out a large number of imperial herbs, sacred herbs, and supreme-grade origin stones. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As long as Lu Ming cultivated the 7 divine mystic arts, Lu Ming's physical body would turn into a black hole and devour the energy crazily. The energy of the emperor herbs, saint herbs, and supreme-grade origin stones were all absorbed by Lu Ming's body. As soon as the energy entered Lu Ming's body, it seeped into every cell in Lu Ming's body, helping Lu Ming improve the strength of his body. As the days passed, Lu Ming's body grew stronger and stronger. Boom! Half a month later, Lu Ming's physical strength had been raised to the extreme. Then, with a loud bang, the aura emitted from his body skyrocketed. At the same time, all the bones and muscles in his body were vibrating crazily, undergoing a transformation. His skin emitted a layer of treasure light, like the light of a divine weapon. Moments later, his muscles and bones finally stopped vibrating and calmed down. At this time, Lu Ming had completely broken through and cultivated the 7 gods' mysterious art to the late 5th level. Lu Ming's strength increased explosively. He felt as if there was an inexhaustible amount of power in his body. At the same time, the strength of his muscles, defense, and vitality had also increased explosively, reaching an unbelievable level. Lu Ming had a feeling that he was invincible among the great emperors, just by relying on the strength of his body. Ha ha ha, good. Let the foreign races, first prince, come. Lu Ming laughed loudly. His spiritual consciousness spread out through the mountain and river diagram to observe the movements outside. He found that the first prince had not come yet. Lu Ming did not care. He continued to circulate the 7 gods' mysterious art to consolidate his realm, slowly moving toward the late 5th level limit. After reaching the late 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious art, the next step was to break through to the 6th level. Once the 7 gods' mysterious art reached the 6th level, the strength of his body alone would be comparable to a heavenly emperor. That would be truly terrifying. However, without a great opportunity, it would be extremely difficult to break through. The ancient body cultivation lineage had been passed down for so long, but there were only a few people who reached the heavenly emperor realm. From this, one could see how difficult it was to cultivate the 7 gods' mysterious art to the 6th level. Lu Ming cultivated quietly. In a blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. At this time, there was finally movement outside. A figure silently appeared in the sky, overlooking the mountains and rivers. All the foreign races fell silent at the same time. It was just a young foreign race, similar to the human race. He was obviously from the royal family. However, he was different from the other royal families. He was extremely handsome, and his hair was golden. Under the sunlight, it shone brightly. His 3 eyes were also golden. When he opened and closed them, they were filled with supreme majesty. The first prince, the first royal family of the evil god tribe, known as the strongest prodigy in the history of the evil god tribe. He had reached the peak of the great emperor realm in less than 300 years of cultivation. He was known to have the bloodline closest to the foreign race's divine ancestor. His combat strength was even more shocking. Experts of the same level could not withstand a single blow from him. Greetings, first prince. Countless foreign races bowed to the first prince. Even some heavenly emperors did the same. Their eyes were filled with respect. The first prince was destined to be invincible in the future. Where is he? The first prince asked. In that grotto heaven treasure. Someone pointed to the mountain and river diagram. The first prince's golden eyes looked at the mountain and river diagram. Boom! The first prince suddenly stomped his foot. A huge foot formed and pressed down on the mountain and river diagram. He actually attacked directly. It was abnormally domineering. Whoosh! The mountain and river diagram turned into a stream of light and flew out, dodging the attack. Then a light flashed. Lu Ming's figure appeared and kept the mountain and river diagram. Make your move. I don't have so much time to waste. The first prince had his hands behind his back. His indifferent gaze swept toward Lu Ming. Cold, domineering, and filled with endless confidence. This was the first prince. He was high and mighty, like a deity looking down on the common people. It was as if nothing could enter his eyes. Since you don't have time, please go back. I don't have so much time to waste with you. Lu Ming also said coldly. The other party's attitude made him unhappy. Ignorant. The first prince said indifferently. Lu Ming's words did not make him angry because Lu Ming was not qualified to make him angry. In his opinion, Lu Ming was just an ignorant ant. Boom! At this moment, the first prince emitted a powerful aura. It was indeed the aura of a peak, great emperor. However, it gave people a terrifying pressure as if they were facing a heavenly emperor. Whoosh! The first prince took a step forward. His body turned into a golden stream of light and rushed toward Lu Ming. He then threw a punch. He still had one hand behind his back, as if to say that he only needed one hand to deal with Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles vibrated and he threw a punch too. Lu Ming did not use his supreme force in this punch. It was purely his physical strength. Boom! The two fists collided heavily and there was a loud explosion. Then a figure was pushed back 100 miles. It was Lu Ming. The one who was pushed back was Lu Ming. The first prince did not move at all. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming was shocked. Chapter 24-26. One had to know that he could completely suppress ordinary peak great emperors with just the strength of his physical body. But that punch just now, he was completely no match for it. He felt that the first prince's physical body was also terrifyingly strong, far surpassing other peak great emperors. Of course, the most shocking thing was still the kind of energy that the other party cultivated. It was like the energy of the ancient cultivation system, indestructible. To be able to block my punch and not be injured, there are extremely few below Heavenly Emperor. Your strength is not bad. No wonder you can defeat Kong Duo. The first prince opened his mouth, but his voice was still indifferent, high and mighty, filled with endless confidence. However, some of the surrounding Heavenly Emperor powerhouses revealed a look of shock in their eyes. They were not shocked by the first prince's combat strength, but by Lu Ming. Because just now, Lu Ming did not unleash the law, but relied solely on his physical body. Just relying on his physical body, he blocked the first prince's move. This was too shocking. They had seen Lu Ming attack before. Lu Ming's physical strength was not so strong before. Could it be that he concealed his strength previously, or he broke through this month? Many foreign races had this thought in their hearts. First prince, be careful! A heavenly emperor of a foreign race reminded. You're looking down on me. The first prince looked at this person, his golden eyes emitting a cold radiance. That heavenly emperor's face changed and hurriedly said, No! How would I dare to look down on the prince? It's fine if you don't. A human race brat, I can easily suppress him. The first prince opened his mouth indifferently, looked at Lu Ming again, took a step out and blasted towards Lu Ming again, still one hand behind his back, only using one hand. The power of this punch was several notches stronger than before. Come on! Lu Ming's eyes revealed fighting spirit, his entire body emitting various kinds of light, no less than a dozen. Boom! With the support of the law, Lu Ming's combat strength was even stronger, and he blasted out another punch. Another violent explosion sounded out. This time, Lu Ming did not retreat, successfully blocking the first prince's attack. And the first prince was stunned, clearly somewhat surprised, as if he did not expect that under this punch, Lu Ming actually did not retreat. Whoosh! However, the first prince was only slightly taken aback. His movements did not stop. His fist turned into a palm, and his palm was like a blade, slashing towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's reaction was also very fast. He waved his palm to block. Bang! Bang! The two of them moved as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows before drifting back. This is your strength? It's not that great. Lu Ming chuckled. The first prince's golden eyes turned cold. Lu Ming's strength had indeed somewhat exceeded his expectations. In the past, unless his opponent's cultivation base was higher than his, he would defeat his opponents with a single hand. Even Kong Duo, who was ranked second on the longevity list, couldn't force him to use his second hand. But now he couldn't deal with Lu Ming. You do have some strength, but in front of me, you are still far from enough. The first prince said coldly. His other hand finally reached out. Whoosh! The first prince rushed towards Lu Ming like a stream of light and unleashed a terrifying attack. Good timing! Lu Ming let out a long roar, and all kinds of laws emanated from his body. Bang! 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 The two of them once again charged at each other and engaged in a fierce battle. This time, the battle was even more intense and terrifying than the battle between Lu Ming and Kong Duo. How can this Lu Ming be so strong? How is it possible? Could it be that he didn't use his full strength in the battle with Kong Duo? Many of the foreign races were extremely shocked. Lu Ming's strength seemed to be bottomless. They sent out stronger people, but Lu Ming's strength was also endless. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Prince Di had exchanged hundreds of blows. Destroy kill. The first prince let out a long roar. Golden light burst out from his third eye like divine swords, slashing towards Lu Ming. The two of them worked together, and their attacks were even stronger. However, Lu Ming's laws were also increasing. At this moment, Lu Ming had already unleashed 49 laws. Boom! The two of them exchanged another blow and retreated at the same time. If that's all you've got, then you'll lose, Lu Ming said coldly. The laws on his body increased, and his aura became stronger. In the end, 81 laws covered his body, and Lu Ming's aura reached its peak. This made the faces of all the foreign races turn ugly. Was the first prince going to lose too? No, it couldn't be. Many of the foreign races shook their heads frantically. You're the first person in hundreds of years to force me to this extent. I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate strength. Supreme, descend. The first prince let out a long roar. An extremely bright light burst out from his third eye. The golden light was even more dazzling than the sun. Then a figure appeared in the first prince's third eye. The figure stepped out of Prince Di's third eye. It was a burly figure, but he was shrouded in a golden light. His appearance could not be seen clearly, but his aura was extremely terrifying. Divine Ancestor, the aura of the Divine Ancestor. The Divine Ancestor has descended. No, it's the power of the Divine Ancestor. The first prince's bloodline is the closest to the Divine Ancestor. He can already borrow a trace of the Divine Ancestor's power. Many of the foreign races shouted, "Kill!" The first prince shouted. The figure stepped out and charged towards Lu Ming. There was a grave look in Lu Ming's eyes. He could sense danger and pressure from this figure, but he was not afraid. It was just the power of the first prince. It could not be the Divine Ancestor himself. Boom! Lu Ming unleashed all his strength and charged forward, engaging in an intense battle with that figure. Boom! 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 The two of them fought fiercely. In the blink of an eye, they were evenly matched. Merge with my body! The first prince shouted again. The figure retreated, turned into a ray of light, and merged with the first prince's body. The first prince's aura became stronger. Kill! The first prince charged towards Lu Ming. The two of them fought again. The void collapsed, and the space within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles was in chaos. Endless space storms swept up. The battle between the two of them was too powerful. It could destroy heaven and earth. Terrifying. It's too terrifying. Is this still a great emperor? How can a great emperor have such combat strength? Oh my God, this is a battle between heavenly emperors. The two of them fought to the extreme. The power that erupted was too strong, far surpassing that of ordinary peak great emperors. If other peak great emperors were to enter, they would probably be killed in one move. The power that the two of them displayed had far surpassed the level of a great emperor. A battle between the peak. A true battle between the peak. Bam! 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 As the battle progressed, the two of them fought crazily and were hit continuously. Both of them were hit, but they did not care. They continued to fight. Lu Ming had the indestructible ancient scripture. Although he was hit, he could recover quickly. Chapter 24-27. This battle lasted for more than 1,000 moves. At this stage, it was no longer a competition of battle strength, but endurance. In the end, Lu Ming had the indestructible ancient scripture and an unparalleled physical body. He slowly gained the upper hand and started to suppress the first prince. At this moment, both of them were covered in blood because they had been hit too many times. Pooh! Lu Ming punched the first prince's shoulder again. Half of his body almost exploded. At the same time, Lu Ming was also hit. His injuries were also very serious. However, his recovery speed was faster than the other party. Kill! Lu Ming did not give the other party a chance to recover at all. He charged forward with his injuries. The more they fought, the more serious the first prince's injuries were. He was less and less of a match for Lu Ming. In the end, he was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Kacha! The first prince's chest was hit. His bones were broken, and his body flew far away. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and his aura was extremely weak. Lu Ming was about to completely suppress the other party in one go. However, at this moment, a light flashed and a figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. This figure was wearing a crown and emitted an earth-shattering aura. Under this aura, Lu Ming could not move at all. He could not even move a finger. The alien king. This was an alien king. He was terrifyingly powerful. The difference between Lu Ming and the other party was too great. Enough! The alien king said coldly. His face was very gloomy. Greetings to the king! Many people bowed. The evil god tribe had 10 royal tribes. The king of each royal tribe had a high status and was respected by most of the other races. Today's battle ends here. Everyone back off. The alien king instructed. Yes. Many of the other races bowed and then flew towards the Saint Mountain. However, they were shocked in their hearts. This was especially so for Mo Tianluo, Storm, and a few others. They were even a little dazed. They understood that even if the alien king appeared, it would not change the fact that the first prince had also been defeated. This so-called strongest genius in the history of the evil god tribe had also been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming defeated the entire 10,000 years list by himself. This was something they had never dreamt of. The first prince stood in the distance, his golden eyes flickering with a cold light. Kill! The first prince shouted coldly. He turned into a stream of light and charged toward Lu Ming. He had always been invincible. Now that he had suffered his first defeat, he developed a strong desire to kill Lu Ming. However, halfway through, he was blocked by a power. It was the power of the outsider king. You cannot kill him. The alien king spoke. This person is a human. He must be killed, or there will be no end of trouble in the future. The first prince shouted. Whether we kill or not, we know what we're doing. Stand down. The outsider king berated. The first prince's expression changed. Even though he was known as the strongest prodigy in the history of the evil god world and had an extremely high status, he still did not dare to act impudently in front of the alien king. The 10 kings of the evil god tribe were the 10 people with the highest status in the evil god realm, excluding the sacred ancestor. Stand down. Another voice sounded in the first prince's ears. Hearing this voice, the first prince's expression changed again, because this voice was his father's voice. His golden eyes coldly swept over Lu Ming. The first prince turned into a streak of light and flew toward the sacred mountain. At the scene, only Lu Ming, Jia Yi, and a few others were left. Lu Ming did not say anything. Being in the evil god world, he had no choice. No matter what the other party wanted to do with him, he was already prepared. However, they could forget about making him submit. In the depths of the sky, several outsider kings were discussing something. What should we do now? One of the outsider kings asked. All of this was completely out of their expectations, and it was also completely out of their control. Their plan was to let Lu Ming see the strength of their evil god world, to make Lu Ming despair and make Lu Ming submit. However, they had never imagined that Lu Ming's talent would be so high and his combat strength would be so strong. He had actually broken through the longevity list. In this way, the ones who would suffer would be them, the evil god tribe, and not Lu Ming. Below the heavenly emperor, no one could defeat Lu Ming. How could they make Lu Ming submit? Their plan had failed. I really didn't expect this child's talent to be so strong. No wonder Saint Ancestor Sha Xian would choose him. Once Saint Ancestor Sha Xian revives in his body, he will definitely be able to return to his peak. That's right. Unfortunately, the prison-suppressing steel is in the way. The outsider king's expressions were very ugly. For a moment, they could not think of a way. They could not take away the prison-suppressing steel, and Lu Ming did not submit. There was nothing they could do. Are we going to ask the Saint Ancestor? One outsider king spoke, but the other outsider kings fell silent. No, after that battle, the Saint Ancestor has been in seclusion to recover from his injuries. Unless it's extremely urgent, we can't disturb him. That's right. I suggest that we wait for a while and spend some time researching. I don't believe that we can't find a way to take away the prison-suppressing steel. The other outsider kings spoke one after another. A few hundred years, a few thousand years, or even a few tens of thousands of years was just the blink of an eye in their eyes. At most, they would spend another few tens of thousands of years researching. They did not believe that they could not find a way. I suggest that we imprison Lu Ming in the eternal cage. This kid hasn't even lived for 200 years. If we imprison him in the eternal cage for a few thousand years, or even a few tens of thousands of years, he might submit. That's right. The non-humankind kings all nodded and reached a consensus. I'll bring him there. One of the emperors of the foreign tribes said before disappearing with a flicker. Lu Ming suddenly felt a powerful force shrouding him. His vision turned dark and he could not see anything. Let's see what you're up to. Lu Ming's expression remained calm. He sat down with his legs crossed and waited patiently. After some time, Lu Ming was swept away by a force and left the darkness. A light appeared in front of him. Where is this? Lu Ming looked around. He discovered that he had appeared in a stone chamber. The stone chamber's door was tightly shut. Looks like I'm locked back in the secret chamber again. Lu Ming smiled slightly. Since he was here, he might as well take things as they came. Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and circulated his cultivation to adjust his breathing. In the previous battle, he had more or less suffered some injuries. Although he had the indestructible ancient scripture, he had not fully recovered. After a period of recuperation, Lu Ming recovered to his peak state not long after. In the following time, Lu Ming comprehended the laws every day and tempered his physical body. In a blink of an eye, 3 months passed. Kacha! On this day, the stone chamber's door opened. An outsider wearing red battle armor walked in. Heavenly Emperor. Seeing this outsider, Lu Ming's heart stirred. This outsider was a Heavenly Emperor powerhouse. Follow me, the red-armored outsider said coldly, then turned around and left. Chapter 24-28. Lu Ming walked out of the stone room and followed the blood-red armored foreign race. So many stone rooms. Lu Ming was taken aback. Outside the stone room, there was a stone passageway. On both sides of the passageway, there were stone doors. Clearly, these were all stone rooms. This place was completely different from the place where Lu Ming was imprisoned for 100 years. This place was definitely not the capital city. At this time, the doors of the stone rooms opened one after another, and figures walked out from inside. Human race. Lu Ming was taken aback. Those who walked out of those stone rooms were actually from the human race. One person walked out of each stone room. Could these humans have been captured from the heaven realm? Not long after, Lu Ming saw some divine beasts again, but all of them had transformed into human form. In addition, Lu Ming also discovered a characteristic, and that was that some people were like him, not wearing anything on their bodies, just like when they were outside. However, some of them wore silver-chained armor that covered their arms and legs. What is this place? A place to imprison the prisoners of the heaven realm? Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind one after another. The others also saw Lu Ming, revealing curious looks. But no one spoke because there were many foreign races wearing blood-red armor, and all of them had heavenly emperor realm cultivation. Lu Ming saw that there were no less than 10 of them. Following the passageway, they walked all the way forward. Not long after, the passageway came to an end. At the end of the passageway was a huge cave. It was very huge. Above the cave there was a hole, and a beam of light shot down from the hole. Lu Ming guessed that this might be the interior of a mountain. There were passageways all around the cave. From each passageway, people gathered. The majority were humans, and there were also divine beasts. In fact, Lu Ming saw foreign races, also wearing silver chain armor, looking like prisoners. Around the cave stood foreign races wearing fiery red armor. Of course, it was impossible for all of them to be heavenly emperors. Most of them were great emperors, but there were a lot of them, more than 200 of them. The power of the foreign races gathered in this place was shockingly strong. Is this a cage of the alien race? Lu Ming speculated. Hey, little brother, you're new here. I've never seen you before. At this time, a big man with messy hair walked over and greeted Lu Ming. Yes, I've only been here for a few months. As Lu Ming spoke, he also sized up the other party. The other party looked to be in his 50s. His hair and beard were messy, but one could still vaguely see that he was very handsome. There was a dignified aura around him. He was also wearing a chain armor. You should be from the heaven realm, right? And from the heaven realm, you should be less than 1,000 years old. You still have the smell of the heaven realm on you, a familiar yet strange smell. The large man sighed, revealing a nostalgic expression. Big brother, did you also come from the heaven realm? Lu Ming asked. That's right. However, that was many, many years ago. I don't even know how many years ago it was. I heard that it should be the ancient era. The large man sighed. Ancient era. Lu Ming was shocked. Could it be that the other party was captured by the foreign races during the war in the ancient era and imprisoned here? From the ancient era until now, how many years had it been? It was really hard to imagine. Are the humans and divine beasts here all seniors from the heaven realm? Lu Ming asked again. No, only a small portion of them came from the heaven realm. The large man shook his head. A small portion? Lu Ming was shocked. Haha, don't tell me you think that only the heaven realm and the primordial realm have humans? In fact, there are humans in the evil god realm too. The large man laughed. There are humans in the evil god tribe? This time, Lu Ming was even more shocked. He had never heard that there were humans in the evil god realm. Weren't the evil god realm full of foreign races? The 10 royal foreign races occupied the entire evil god realm. Haha, I'm a human here. Ching Tsang, this little brother, are you from the heaven realm? At this time, a large man with fiery red hair walked over. He looked to be in his 50s and was also wearing a chain armor. The large man with messy hair from before was called Ching Tsang. That's right. Ching Tsang nodded and introduced. He's called Wu Tai, a human from the evil god realm. Little brother, what's your name? I'm Lu Ming. Lu Ming introduced himself and then started chatting with Ching Tsang and Wu Tai. Both of them were very forthright. As they chatted, Lu Ming learned a lot about this place. This place was called the Eternal Prison. It was a place where the foreign races imprisoned criminals. Once they were imprisoned, it would be difficult for them to leave. When these people were imprisoned, they were given medicine on the spot. Yes, medicine. Every once in a while, the foreign races would send people to draw their blood and use their blood to refine pills for the foreign races to consume to increase their cultivation. Moreover, Lu Ming knew that there were humans in the evil god realm. They were still in a place called the Hell Suppressing World, resisting the foreign races. Moreover, the hell-suppressing world, was very powerful. Hell-suppressing world? The name is so similar to the hell-suppressing steel. Lu Ming's heart trembled as he thought of many things. Perhaps the foreign races were held back by the hell-suppressing world, which was why they couldn't attack the heavenly world. Why are there outsiders imprisoned here as well? Lu Ming asked again. Because some foreign races are against attacking the heavenly world. Look, there are more than 10 foreign races over there. They are all very powerful existences, but they were against attacking the heavenly world in the ancient era. That's why they are imprisoned here. Qing Tsang pointed to the left. Lu Ming looked over. True enough, he saw more than 10 foreign clans. All of them were members of the foreign clan, and they were wearing silver chain armor. I see. Lu Ming was enlightened. It seemed like not all foreign races were in favor of attacking the heavenly world. There were some who were against it. In fact, Lu Ming had always been curious. Why did the foreign races have to attack the heavenly world? Wouldn't it be better for everyone to live in peace? Big brother Qing Tsang, you have been imprisoned here since the ancient era. Could it be that after so many years, no one has escaped from here? Lu Ming asked again. No. Qing Tsang shook his head and sighed. The entire eternal cage is enveloped by a treasure and set up a terrifying restriction. It is said that the treasure is the treasure of the evil god race's sacred ancestor. Once it is set up, the restriction cannot be broken at all. Moreover, that restriction also has a terrifying killing power. As long as one is inside the restriction, once there is any movement and the restriction is activated, even a peak heavenly emperor will be killed. Lu Ming was shocked. If a peak heavenly emperor was to be killed, that would be too terrifying. A peak heavenly emperor was the strongest person in the world. Lu Ming could not imagine how strong he was. Lu Ming, brother Qing Tsang, is a peak heavenly emperor. On the side, Wu Tai spoke up. What? Peak heavenly emperor? Chapter 24-29. Qing Tsang was actually a peak heavenly emperor. A peak heavenly emperor, whether it was in the evil god realm or the heaven realm, was in existence at the peak. There weren't many such people in the evil god realm or the heaven realm. According to what Lu Ming knew, the top 10 war beasts were peak heavenly emperors at their peak. And the seemingly ordinary person in front of him, who couldn't feel the slightest bit of aura, was actually a peak heavenly emperor. Qing Tsang used to be a famous figure in the heaven realm. Brother Lu Ming, have you never heard of him? Wu Tai looked at Lu Ming curiously. No. Lu Ming shook his head. Ha ha ha, Wu Tai, how long has it been since I was in the heaven realm? So many years have passed. Who still remembers my name? Qing Tsang laughed, not minding it. The 9-headed golden lion is famous everywhere. Back then, even the evil god realm had a thunderous reputation. Wu Tai grinned. What? 9-headed golden lion? This time, Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. Of course, he knew about the 9-headed golden lion. Who didn't know about one of the top 10 war beasts, the 9-headed golden lion? However, it was said that the 9-headed golden lion had already died in battle during the ancient war. The Qing Tsang in front of him was actually one of the top 10 war beasts, the 9-headed golden lion. So he wasn't dead. You've heard of it? Wu Tai said. Of course. Who hasn't heard of the 9-headed golden lion, one of the top 10 war beasts? Lu Ming said. Everything is just a false reputation. Aren't you still a prisoner? Qing Tsang laughed at himself. Big brother Qing Tsang, big brother Wu Tai, why are you wearing this chain armor, but I'm not? Lu Ming asked curiously. This kind of armor can seal a person's cultivation. It is covered with formations that can seal a person's cultivation through their acupoints. Those above the heavenly emperor realm all wear this kind of armor. As for those below the heavenly emperor realm, their cultivation is not high. Even if they don't wear armor, the evil god race can easily suppress them, so they don't wear it. Wu Tai explained. Lu Ming suddenly understood. No wonder some people were wearing armor while others were not. So that was the reason. There were restrictions set up around this place, which had terrifying defensive and killing power. Even heavenly emperors could not get out, let alone those below heavenly emperors. Moreover, the other races still had so many experts guarding this place. Those below heavenly emperor could not stir up any waves at all. He's here, Qing Tsang suddenly said as he looked in a certain direction. Lu Ming and Wu Tai also looked in the same direction. A bald, middle-aged man walked over with a group of outsiders in fiery, red armor. The bald, middle-aged man looked no different from a human, but the third eye between his eyebrows told everyone that he was a foreign race. His body emitted an incomparably terrifying aura, as if he was high up in the universe. His pressure was like the heavens and the earth and the universe. How terrifying! Lu Ming sensed it slightly and felt cold sweat all over his body. His heartbeat quickened. This person's name is Duo Lei. He is the commander of the Myriad World Cage. At the same time, he is also a peak heavenly emperor. Wu Tai whispered. Peak heavenly emperor. Lu Ming's eyes turned intent. No wonder the feeling he gave people was so terrifying. A peak heavenly emperor was guarding this place. Even if there were no restrictions set up, not many people would be able to escape. Duo Lei cultivates a strange combat technique that requires him to absorb powerful battle chi. So every once in a while he'll gather everyone together and then pick people to compete, to duel and carry out a great battle. And he can absorb the battle chi of others. Wu Tai continued to explain. Lu Ming nodded, finally understanding why these people were gathered here. Duo Lei came to the middle of the cave. With a wave of his hand, a battle platform appeared and landed in the middle of the cave. According to the old rules, whoever I call, whoever goes up to fight. If anyone doesn't do their best and is half-hearted, after this, I will drain their blood. Duo Lei said coldly, his gaze like lightning, sweeping in all directions. The faces of the people who were swept by him changed, somewhat solemn. Duo Lei was vicious and merciless. He would definitely do what he said. Many people had been imprisoned here for countless years and were naturally very clear. Lu Ji, Wang Mang, you guys go up. Duo Lei called out. Then, Lu Ming saw two figures walk up the battle platform. Both of them wore silver chain armor. Clearly, they were both heavenly emperors. After the two of them stepped onto the battle platform, Duo Lei waved his hand, and the armor on their bodies flew away and landed in Duo Lei's hands. Boom! Boom! The moment the armor flew away, astonishing auras erupted from Lu Ji and Wang Mang's bodies. This is a 3-star heavenly emperor. Lu Ming's eyes focused. Two people who stepped onto the battle platform were 3-star heavenly emperors. The number of experts imprisoned in this eternal prison was astonishing. Lu Ji and Wang Mang looked at each other, then suddenly took a step forward, charging towards each other. Boom! Boom! The two of them clashed fiercely on the battle platform. The two of them had similar cultivation. They erupted with their full strength, not holding back at all. The battle was incomparably intense. This is not a loss system. As soon as the two of them started fighting, Lu Ming discovered that the two of them did not cultivate the law system at all. Instead, they cultivated the immemorial martial Tao, which was similar to the immemorial martial Tao. The two of them are from my hell suppression world. What they cultivate should be different from the current heaven realm, right? On the side, Wu Tai said. Yes, Lu Ming nodded. The law system had risen at the end of the immemorial martial Tao, and the hell suppression world should have always been in the evil god realm. It was normal for their cultivation to be different. The two of them fought for hundreds of moves. In the end, Lu Ji won slightly and defeated Wang Mang. Duo Lei watched from the side, his eyes flickering with excitement. A layer of light flickered on his body, flickering indeterminately. After Lu Ji and Wang Mang's battle, Duo Lei called 2 people up to fight. They were also heavenly emperors. Every group had similar cultivation, so the battle was incomparably intense. Their fighting spirit soared into the sky. This was very beneficial to Duo Lei. Just like this, several groups fought in succession. There were heavenly emperors and great emperors. Lu Ming discovered that none of them cultivated the law system. Qing Song told him that there were not many captured from the heaven realm. Most of the humans here were from the hell suppression world. Recently, we have a newcomer here, a peerless genius from the heaven realm. Suddenly, Duo Lei spoke and then looked at Lu Ming. The others could not help but look at Lu Ming. There is really no one as young as Lu Ming here. I heard that you are very strong. Go up and fight, Duo Lei said. Lu Ming's gaze moved, but he did not speak. He stepped out and landed on the battle stage. You, go up and fight him. Duo Lei pointed at an old man. That old man jumped onto the battle stage, his body emitting a powerful aura. He was a peak great emperor. Little brother, you have to be careful. This old man's cultivation is peak great emperor, the old man said kindly. Chapter 2430. Thank you, Senior. Please. Lu Ming said with a smile. Be careful. The old man said as he charged towards Lu Ming. His palm was as sharp as a knife as he slashed towards Lu Ming. Buzz! The old man's palm vibrated as a strange energy circulated around it. It really looked like a battle knife. The old man cultivated the Archean martial path, and his attack power was shocking. Since he had attacked, he would not hold back, as Duo Lu would not allow anyone to hold back. Lu Ming took a deep breath and threw out a punch. It was a simple punch, but it caused the space in the fighting ring to explode. The wind howled, and the power was shocking. However, there was a layer of light around the fighting ring that blocked the wanton energy chi. This, the elder's pupils suddenly widened. The power of Lu Ming's punch was extremely shocking. He was taken aback. Swoosh! The old man changed his move. He shook his arm and slashed out dozens of times. Dozens of blade lights slashed towards Lu Ming's fist. However, when Lu Ming's fist hit the old man's blade lights, they exploded. The terrifying fist force crushed through and collided with the old man's palm. The old man's body trembled as if he had been electrocuted. He then retreated until he hit the light screen at the edge of the fighting ring. His face turned pale. So powerful. Many people were shocked, and they could not help but reevaluate Lu Ming. Previously, when they saw how young Lu Ming was, they thought that even if he was a genius, he would not be too strong. It was already shocking that he had the combat strength of a great emperor. However, when Lu Ming attacked, they were shocked. He defeated a peak great emperor with a single punch. This little brother Lu Ming is really not bad. He looks really young. He has cultivated for no more than 1,000 years, but he actually has such combat abilities. It's really shocking. Wu Tai exclaimed. Qing Song's eyes were filled with surprise as he said, looking at his cultivation, he should be a body cultivator. He's already a peak great emperor. He can be said to be a rare genius. It's a pity that he's imprisoned in the eternal cage. Qing Song sighed. Wu Tai was the same. He was so young and had such combat strength. If he had enough time, he would definitely become a terrifying expert. It was a pity that he was captured by the foreign races. It was tantamount to cutting off all hope. Little brother's combat strength is amazing. I'm impressed. On the fighting ring, the old man cupped his fists. His eyes were filled with admiration. Senior, you're too polite, Lu Ming said. Duo Lu, I'm really no match. The old man. Trash. Ayo. Duo looked at a middle-aged man wearing silver chain armor and said, he was a heavenly emperor. Duo Lu actually asked him to fight a great emperor? Duo Lu, you've gone too far. Lu Ming is just a great emperor. It's meaningless for you to ask him to fight Ao Jing. Qing Tsang shouted. When is it your turn to interrupt when I do things? Qing Tsang, remember your current identity. You're just a prisoner. Don't think of yourself as one of the top 10 beasts. Duo Le glanced at Qing Tsang coldly, then looked at Ao Jing and said, Go up and fight. Go all out. Ao Jing was helpless and could only step onto the fighting ring. Duo Le waved his hand, and the armor on Ao Jing's body flew away. Roar! A dragon roar sounded. Ao Jing's body emitted a powerful aura. Ao Jing was a true dragon, and his cultivation was a 1-star heavenly emperor. Little brother, be careful, Ao Jing reminded. Senior, just go all out, Lu Ming said, his eyes revealing a strong fighting spirit. This was his first time fighting a heavenly emperor. A heavenly emperor was much stronger than a great emperor. There had never been a great emperor who could fight a heavenly emperor, someone as strong as the #1 prince of the foreign races, known as the strongest prodigy of the foreign races, with astonishing combat strength, would probably not be a match for the weakest 1-star heavenly emperor. Lu Ming was looking forward to how far he could fight a 1-star heavenly emperor if he went all out. Moreover, although he had grasped 81 types of laws now, the application of the 81 types of laws was not very perfect. At least, he was unable to interweave all the laws together to form a divine ability. He could not achieve perfection. All of this was very difficult to slowly cultivate and comprehend by himself. However, in an intense battle, there would often be great gains. Therefore, Lu Ming was looking forward to it, and his fighting spirit was also very strong. Buzz! Buzz! All kinds of light appeared on Lu Ming's body. That was the light of laws. That's laws. Below the fighting ring, Qing Tsang was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming actually cultivated laws. Wait, so many kinds. No, several kinds of strongest laws. What's going on? Oh my God, it's still increasing. Qing Tsang's eyes suddenly became round, because the laws on Lu Ming's body were constantly flashing. More than 10 kinds, more than 20 kinds, 50 kinds, and the strongest laws were also constantly increasing. Qing Tsang's eyes became bigger and bigger, and finally became completely dumbfounded. What Qing Tsang cultivated was not the law system, but the ancient demon Tao. However, in ancient times, the law system dominated the heaven realm and was incomparably prosperous. He naturally understood it very well. At this moment, seeing the laws on Lu Ming's body, he was really dumbfounded. Not only him, but around the fighting ring, those who had some understanding of the law system were also dumbfounded. In an instant, Lu Ming's 81 types of laws all appeared, forming a battle suit that covered his entire body. Lu Ming erupted his strength to the extreme. Senior, please. Chapter 2431. In a twinkle, Lu Ming fought fiercely with Ao Jing for several dozen moves. Delightful, delightful. The more Lu Ming fought, the more excited he got, his fighting intent surging to the sky. Although he was completely at a disadvantage, being suppressed by Ao Jing, it was not that easy for Ao Jing to want to win him either. Fighting with a heavenly emperor, Lu Ming could completely erupt with all of his strength. Furthermore, the other party could give him powerful pressure at all times, making him more proficient in his grasp of laws, understanding deeper. Bang! Bang! In the great battle, Lu Ming evolved all kinds of laws to the extreme, blasting out all kinds of different divine abilities. Good, good, good. Below the battle stage, Duo Lei said good 3 times in a row. He cultivated a kind of combat method and needed to absorb battle qi. He discovered that when Lu Ming fought with people, his fighting intent was extremely strong. It could let him absorb even more battle qi. He was already planning in his heart to let Lu Ming take the field more often in the future. What astonishing combat strength! The others also marveled endlessly, being shocked by Lu Ming's strength. Lu Ming's strength was already virtually close to Heavenly Emperor Realm. Heavenly Emperor Realms were definitely too weak to withstand a single blow in Lu Ming's hands. This battle was several hundred moves. After fighting for so long, Lu Ming was finally no match, being sent flying by Ao Jing, slamming into the light screen, vomiting fresh blood. He was defeated, but his eyes were endlessly excited. That battle earlier deepened his application of all kinds of laws a little more. Senior is formidable, junior is not a match. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, "The formidable one is you. If not for me relying on my high cultivation, how can I be your match?" Ao Jing exclaimed. Indeed, if let him fight with Lu Ming on the same level, he probably could not even block one move from Lu Ming. Following that, the two people went down the battle stage. Duo Lei called the others up to fight fiercely again. A day later, Duo Lei seemed to be perfectly satisfied, making everyone disperse and return to their respective locked secret rooms. "That Lu Ming, don't draw his blood, it's useful to me." After the crowd dispersed, Duo Lei instructed his subordinates. After drawing blood, the person would definitely be weakened and would not be able to fight for a period of time. He wanted to leave Lu Ming to fight with others so that he could absorb battle qi. The others had been imprisoned here for too long and were already numb to it. Even if they fought with all their might, they would not be able to unleash too much battle qi. However, when Lu Ming was fighting, his fighting spirit was high, and his battle qi was extremely dense, which made him happy. Yes, the other outsiders accepted the order. After Lu Ming returned to his stone room, he continued to cultivate. He carefully recalled the battle just now, and his understanding of the use of laws gradually deepened. A few months passed in the blink of an eye. A few months later, Duo Lu summoned them again and had them fight. This time, Duo Lei called Lu Ming over again, battling with another one-star Heavenly Emperor. In this battle, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage. However, after exchanging several hundred moves, Lu Ming was defeated. Just like this, every few months, Lu Ming had to fight once. His gains were great. He also became more and more proficient in the application of various laws. The divine abilities that he comprehended himself also became more and more. Furthermore, no one came to draw Lu Ming's blood either. Time flew by. In a blink of an eye, Lu Ming had already been in the Myriad Generations prison for 10 years. In 10 years, Lu Ming was already very familiar with the people here. He was familiar with many people. And in these 10 years, Lu Ming wholeheartedly comprehended all kinds of laws, his improvement astonishing. He was finally able to interweave 81 kinds of laws together, forming a kind of divine ability. 81 kinds of laws interweaved together, turning into a long spear with astonishing power. This made Lu Ming's combat strength increase a little again. He was truly able to fight to a draw with a one-star Heavenly Emperor, creating a miracle that no one could create since ancient times. 81 kinds of laws. I'm finally perfected into one. I can finally assault the great Emperor realm now. Lu Ming pondered, his eyes revealing a look of anticipation. Lu Ming had experienced too much along the way. Even in the midst of adversity, he would not be discouraged either. He believed that as long as his strength became stronger and stronger, there would always be a way to get out. Now, he planned on assaulting the great Emperor realm. 81 kinds of laws included all of the strongest laws and most of the Qingdao laws. Once he succeeded in assaulting the great Emperor realm, who knew what kind of power it would have, Lu Ming was looking forward to it very much. Better enter the mountain and river diagram. Otherwise, the commotion caused by breaking through is too great. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Then he entered the mountain and river diagram. Fortunately, his cultivation was low. The other races did not care about him and did not let him wear chain armor. Otherwise, it would be troublesome to cultivate. Entering the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming took out a large number of chaos stones and superior grade raw stones, placed them all around, then sat down cross-legged and started cultivating. 3 days later, Lu Ming's state was adjusted to the extreme. "Begin," Lu Ming whispered. At this moment, the heart of the realm in his small world emitted a bright light. At this moment, the heart of the realm had fused with 81 kinds of laws and was undergoing a shocking change. The 81 kinds of laws completely gathered together, intertwined, and fused together. The quantitative change led to a qualitative change. The 81 kinds of laws would slowly transform into a higher level, which was the Great Tao. This was the process of ordinary people's cultivation. This process could not be done overnight. It needed time. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. At this moment, the 81 kinds of laws could no longer be seen in the heart of the realm. There was only chaos, a piece of gray, like the light of chaos, but there were some differences. Boom! At this moment, a violent explosion came from Lu Ming's body. An incomparably mysterious aura spread out from Lu Ming's body. At this moment, the color of Lu Ming's heart of the realm changed from gray to purplish gold. In an instant, it completely turned purplish gold. It was filled with a noble aura. It was high and mighty, like the ruler of heaven and earth. A purplish gold light also spread out from Lu Ming's body. It made him look sacred and inviolable, like a god that ruled the world. Breakthrough. Lu Ming knew that he had broken through. He had stepped into the great emperor realm. Devour. Lu Ming's heart moved. His body was like a black hole, crazily devouring the energy around him. Bang! Bang! Piles of supreme-grade origin stones exploded, turning into an extremely dense tide of origin chi that poured into Lu Ming's body and into his small world. At the same time, the chaos stones exploded one after another. Strands of chaos chi were absorbed by Lu Ming and refined by Lu Ming, entering his small world. Lu Ming's small world expanded rapidly. Originally, when Lu Ming was at the peak of the true emperor realm, the size of his small world was 700,000 miles. But now it was expanding rapidly. As Lu Ming refined energy entered, it expanded rapidly. 750,000 miles, 800,000 miles, 900,000 miles. Soon, Lu Ming's small world expanded to 1 million miles. Chapter 2432. Ordinary people who had just cultivated to the great emperor realm would stop when their small world expanded to 1 million miles. However, Lu Ming did not stop at all. He continued to expand, and the speed was getting faster and faster. 1 million, 1, 2 million, 1, 5 million, 2 million miles. It's still expanding. Then continue to refine for me. Lu Ming kept taking out supreme-grade origin stones and chaos stones. A large number of supreme-grade origin stones were refined. Fortunately, Lu Ming's resources were abundant. Over the years, he had killed many opponents and accumulated a large number of resources. In particular, he had obtained too many resources on the Void Divine Island. There were more than 20,000 chaos stones and primordial stones, respectively. There were countless supreme-grade origin stones. Lu Ming did not count them at all. If it was an ordinary person, they would not be able to afford it. Lu Ming did not care about resources at all. No matter how many resources there were, it was most practical to turn them into strength. As a large number of resources were refined, Lu Ming's small world continued to expand crazily. 3 million miles for million miles. In the end, Lu Ming's small world expanded to a radius of 10 million miles before it stopped. The others who had just broken through to the great emperor realm only had a small world of 1 million miles. However, Lu Ming's small world had a radius of 10 million miles, which was 10 times that of the others. This was the distance between length and width. As for the area, it was unknown how many times more, at least 100 times. This was already comparable to a heavenly emperor realm's small world. Of course, the amount of resources consumed was also shocking. Lu Ming used a total of 3 8,000 chaos stones. As for supreme-grade origin stones, it was even more shocking. Lu Ming did not count them at all. However, everything was worth it. Lu Ming felt that the world power in his body was extremely rich. It was not like the world power that an ordinary great emperor realm could have at all. My current realm is obviously still a one-star great emperor. However, the world power is many times richer than the other one-star great emperor's world power. Lu Ming muttered. His current world power was really too rich. There's a different kind of energy in the power of the world. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt that his world energy was mixed with a trace of purple gold energy. Moreover, Lu Ming felt that this energy was extremely shocking. It was much stronger than world energy. Could it be my great Tao? Lu Ming thought of the great Tao he controlled. Then, with a thought, a purple light radiated from Lu Ming's body. In the unseen world, there was a kind of energy that was under his control. That energy was incomparably mysterious, but it emitted a terrifying might, as though it could dominate everything. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have become one with the world. It was as if all the energy in the world could be used by him. Lu Ming seemed to be able to dominate everything. With a thought, a mountain in the mountain river diagram in the distance directly turned into ashes and dissipated. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. This power was too terrifying. He only had to think about it in his mind. This is my great Tao. No, a great Tao is definitely not this powerful. I seem to have become one with time. Isn't this the embodiment of the heavenly Tao? But it's different from the heavenly Tao. Lu Ming instructed in his thoughts, feeling very puzzled. He realized that the great Tao he controlled was different from the other great Taos. He was sure that the other great Taos were vulnerable in front of him. However, it was also different from the heavenly Tao. Even his power of the world was mixed with this kind of power. It was different from the great Tao and also different from the heavenly Tao. It was like a brand new Tao. It should be related to my cultivation. I cultivate 81 types of laws, which is why such a mysterious Tao was born. Lu Ming analyzed. The most fundamental composition of heaven and earth was the laws. There were tens of thousands of laws. However, the most important ones were the 10 strongest laws and many other monarch laws. Although there were many other ordinary laws, their effects were far inferior to the 10 strongest laws and monarch laws. Lu Ming, on the other hand, had mastered all the strongest laws and most of the monarch laws. After breaking through to the great emperor realm, he had mastered a mysterious Tao. I wonder how powerful this Tao of mine is? Lu Ming thought, then closed his eyes and began to experiment. When he used this mysterious Tao, he seemed to have become one with heaven and earth. His consciousness floated out and extended out of the stone room. Lu Ming saw everything in the other stone rooms. He continued to extend his consciousness. Not long after, Lu Ming saw a layer of light screen. This layer of light screen enveloped all directions. At the top of the light screen, there was a round bead that emitted a bright light. The light screen was formed by this round bead. Could this be the restriction of the eternal cage? A restriction formed by the treasure of the evil god tribe's divine ancestor? Lu Ming's heart stirred. If I can open this restriction, I can get out. Lu Ming's eyes lit up, but then he smiled helplessly. Qing Tsang and the rest said that even a peak heavenly emperor could not break through this light screen. Moreover, it had a terrifying, offensive power that could even kill a peak heavenly emperor. Then how could he open it? However, Lu Ming really wanted to give it a try, because in his heart, he always had a feeling that he could dominate everything. Even if it was the light screen here, he could open it. This was the feeling that the mysterious Tao gave him. Let's give it a try. In the end, Lu Ming made up his mind and decided to give it a try. A wisp of purple gold light flew towards the light screen. It was precisely that mysterious Tao. Buzz! That light screen emitted layers of waves. In the end, a crack actually appeared. Success, I actually succeeded. Lu Ming was overjoyed. That layer of light screen seemed to be dominated by him. This was an extremely mysterious feeling. Following that, Lu Ming hurriedly put away that mysterious Tao. That light screen returned to normal. With Duo Lei controlling that treasure, Lu Ming was afraid that it would alarm the other party. At this moment, in a secret room, Duo Lei, who was cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes. Could it be that someone is attacking the restriction? They really don't know life from death. Duo Lei said sinisterly and then observed through the bead. He controlled that bead and could observe everything that was happening on the light screen at any time. However, Duo Lei did not discover anything. He did not discover anyone attacking the light screen. Could it be an illusion? Duo Lei frowned and then carefully observed for a while. He did not discover anything, so he ignored it. And at this time, Lu Ming was really overjoyed. It really worked. He could really open that restriction. This meant that he could leave at any time. This kind of mysterious Tao is too wonderful, too mysterious. Lu Ming waved his hand. His palm emitted a purple gold light. It was the embodiment of that mysterious Tao. I've never heard of this kind of Tao, but it seems to be able to dominate heaven and earth. Then, let's call it the Tao of domination. Lu Ming gave it a name. Tao of domination. I don't know how strong I am now. Lu Ming pondered. Chapter 2433. Lu Ming had a feeling that if he did not use his physical body now, just relying on world power and Tao of sovereign, he could kill a one-star heavenly emperor. One had to know his current realm was still just one-star great emperor. If he could kill a one-star heavenly emperor, it was equivalent to crossing an entire major realm to kill the enemy. Happening in the heavenly emperor realm was something inconceivable. The higher up, the higher the cultivation, the harder it was to jump realms to battle. Those able to cultivate to the heavenly emperor realm, which one was not a peerless genius. Only by grasping the strongest laws could one cultivate to the heavenly emperor realm. Hence, at the back, being able to cross a minor realm to fight the enemy was already extremely, extremely difficult, let alone crossing a major realm to kill the enemy. Furthermore, this was still just Lu Ming's estimation. Adding in the power of the physical body, Lu Ming's combat strength would be even stronger. From now on, Lu Ming was the powerhouses who stepped into the heavenly realm, primordial realm, and evil god realm. Now isn't the time to leave yet. With my strength, even if I leave this place, I'll be discovered very soon and will be caught up by the other party. Furthermore, even if I leave this place in the vast evil god realm, where should I go? Lu Ming started thinking again. In the end, he planned on finding Qing Song and the rest to discuss, and even bring Qing Song and the rest to escape together. Lu Ming put away his cultivation, got up, walked to the door, and pushed forcefully. The door was pushed open. The Eternal World Prison was not managed strictly. The main thing was that there was the foreign race's sacred ancestors' treasure, enveloping all directions. That layer of restriction, no one could break it. Hence, people like Duol and the other foreign races were very assured. Normally, Lu Ming and the rest could freely enter and exit the various stone rooms. In Duol and the rest's view, Lu Ming and the rest could at most only move around within the range of the restriction and could not run. Moreover, those above Heavenly Emperor still had chains and armors to seal cultivation, an additional layer of insurance. Lu Ming walked out of the stone room and followed the passageway. Soon, he arrived at the door of another secret room. Knocking on the door, a voice came from inside the door. "Come in." Lu Ming pushed open the stone door and walked in. Inside was precisely Qing Song. Qing Song was lying on a green rock, leisurely drinking wine. "Haha, brother Lu Ming, you came at the right time. Drink with me." Qing Song smiled, took out a pot of wine and tossed it to Lu Ming. This wine was given to Qing Song by Lu Ming. There was no wine to drink in the eternal prison. Lu Ming took it and took a sip. Brother Lu Ming, you made a breakthrough in your cultivation. Suddenly, Qing Song's eyes lit up. Although his cultivation was sealed by the chain armor, his eyes were still sharp. He could tell at a glance that Lu Ming had made a breakthrough. I just broke through. Lu Ming said, Let me see what kind of great Tao you have comprehended. Qing Song hurriedly said. He was very curious. Lu Ming had mastered 81 nomological laws. He was also very curious about what kind of great Tao he would master after breaking through to the great Emperor realm. Lu Ming nodded. He also wanted to ask Qing Song about this. Qing Song had lived for a long time. He might know what kind of great Tao he had comprehended. With a thought, Lu Ming's body emitted a dominating aura. At the same time, a purple gold light spread out from his body. This, as soon as he sensed Lu Ming's aura, Qing Song's expression changed and became a little serious. Brother Qing Song, do you know what kind of Tao this is? Lu Ming asked. Qing Song shook his head and said, It's strange. I've never seen or heard of this kind of Tao. Qing Song looked carefully and revealed a look of surprise. What a terrifying Tao. There's a dominating will in it. In front of this kind of Tao, I'm afraid that ordinary great Tao will be vulnerable. Only the heavenly Tao can contend against it. Moreover, your cultivation is still weak now. As your cultivation increases in the future, it will be even more shocking and powerful. Sigh, what a pity. In the end, Qing Song sighed. Brother Qing Song, what's a pity? Lu Ming asked. It's a pity that you're locked up here. Otherwise, with your talent, you might be able to create a miracle in the future and break through the last stage to enter the supreme realm. In that case, the heaven realm might be able to defeat the evil god tribe. What a pity. Qing Song sighed. Brother Qing Song, we might be able to get out. Lu Ming said softly. What? Qing Song glared and said, Brother Lu Ming, what do you mean by that? Brother Qing Song, I won't hide it from you. I named this great Tao the Sovereign Tao. Previously, I used the Sovereign Tao to open the restrictions of the eternal prison. Lu Ming explained the matter. What? Qing Song's eyes emitted a bright light. Even though he was sealed by the chain armor, a terrifying aura spread out. Brother Lu Ming, what you said, is it true? Qing Song's voice trembled a little. He had been imprisoned here for too long and originally did not have any extravagant hopes of getting out. Now that he heard that he could get out, he was naturally excited. That's right, it's absolutely true. However, after opening it, I'm afraid that will be discovered by Duo Lu very soon. That's why I came to discuss it with Brother Qing Song. Lu Ming said, It's fine. As long as I can get out of the restriction, I can break free from this sealed armor. At that time, even if Duo Lu finds out, I won't be afraid of him. Qing Song said, revealing strong confidence. Qing Song was different from the Titan longhorn beetle and the 9 lives demonic silkworm. In the ancient war, although he was captured, his injuries were not that serious and had long recovered. As long as he broke free from the seal, he would immediately be able to recover his peak heavenly emperor cultivation base. He was not afraid of Duo Lu at all. Then, after we get out, where are we going? Lu Ming asked. To the hell-suppressing realm, so we have to find Wu Tai and the others. This time, take this opportunity to bring more people out. Qing Song said. Lu Ming nodded. He had the same intention. In the eternal cage, there were too many experts. The number of Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouses was also astonishing. If they could bring them out, they would definitely be able to create a lot of trouble for the evil god race. That way, the pressure on the Heaven Realm side would also be reduced. This combat strength could not be given up. Immediately, Lu Ming and Qing Song discussed the details, then found Wu Tai and told him about this matter. After Wu Tai heard it, he was also shocked at first, then ecstatic. The 3 people discussed who should be brought out. This matter must be carried out strictly. If they had to bring, they also had to bring people they could trust. If this matter was found out by the other races, they would probably directly seal Lu Ming or even kill Lu Ming. Then everything would be over. After discussing, Wu Tai and Qing Tsang both started to take action, revealing this matter to some people they could trust, discussing when to take action. In the end, a total of more than 30 people knew about this matter. Of course, if they wanted to escape at that time, it would not be just these 30 people. Each of them could find a reason to invite some people to leave with them, as long as they did not tell them the specific details beforehand. When Lu Ming opened the restriction, everyone could escape together. In the end, they decided to wait for Duo Lu to gather them before taking action. Chapter 2434. Sure enough, half a month later, Duo gathered everyone for a competition once more. Without a doubt, Lu Ming was called up again. Lu Ming did not display the Tao of Sovereign. He just used the power of his fleshly body and a portion of world power to exchange several hundred moves with a 1-star heavenly emperor. Broke through. Duo's eyes flashed. He could naturally tell that Lu Ming broke through. However, even if Lu Ming broke through, he was also just a great emperor. He did not care too much. In his view, Lu Ming's physical strength was too strong. Even if he broke through in laws, it would not increase his overall combat strength too much. After more than a day, the competition ended. Lu Ming and the rest returned to their respective stone rooms. After returning to the stone room, Lu Ming waited quietly. Roughly several hours later, Lu Ming opened the stone door and headed for Qing Tsang's stone room. After arriving at Qing Tsang's stone room, he discovered that there was another large man inside besides Qing Tsang. This large man did not know of Lu Ming's plan. He was invited by Qing Tsang. Before long, Wu Tai brought 2 people and also came to Qing Tsang's stone room. Wu Tai, elder brother Qing Tsang, why did you call us here? The 2 people who came with Wu Tai asked. These 2 people also did not know the specific plan. Looking for you all for something, just follow us. Qing Tsang said. Finished speaking, he walked out of the stone room first. Lu Ming and the rest followed. Those few people were very curious, but did not ask much, following Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the rest entered a passageway and casually strolled around, heading toward the periphery of the Myriad Generations prison. At this moment, many people started moving. Those who knew the plan either invited 1 or 2 or 3 people, all casually strolling around, heading toward the place Lu Ming and the rest agreed upon. Lu Ming and the rest turned left and right, bypassing several passageways, and then arrived at a relatively large stone room. This stone room was considered the outermost stone room. Through the passageway outside the stone room, one could walk to the edge of the restriction. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, there were already a few people waiting there. As time passed, more and more people came to this place. A moment later, there were a total of 133 people. Of these 133 people, there were a total of 100. The other 3 people wore chain armor on their bodies, indicating that they were all Heavenly Emperor realm existences. Only 30 people were below the Celestial Emperor. Everyone, why have you brought us here? Another person asked. Those who were invited were also very curious. Qing Tsang and the others did not reply. Since everyone is here, let's go. Qing Tsang said as he strode away. Those who were invited became even more curious. However, those who were invited were usually on very good terms with someone, so they didn't ask much and just followed Qing Tsang and the others. Gradually, they approached the entrance of the passageway. They could even see the restrictive light screen outside through the passageway. Could it be that you want to escape? Finally, someone guessed what Lu Ming and the others were going to do. Their faces immediately changed wildly. This restriction could not be broken at all. Moreover, those above the Celestial Emperor realm were all wearing chain armor. Their cultivation was sealed. Wanting to escape was simply impossible. Forcefully going head-on like this would only lead to death. Do you all want to court death? Someone was somewhat anxious. If we don't have confidence, would we do this? Just follow. Someone said. Many people's faces became incomparably solemn, changing indeterminately. They did not expect that Ching Song and the rest actually wanted to escape. For countless years, no one had escaped. What are you all trying to do? Right at this time, a loud roar came from the entrance of the passageway. A burly figure appeared. It was a foreign race, wearing blood-red armor, his aura powerful. Everyone's faces changed wildly. Normally, this passageway had no foreign races. Because the foreign races were 100% confident in their restrictions, the guard was very lax. There were no foreign races guarding this place at all. Today, a foreign race actually appeared. Furthermore, it looked like his cultivation was very profound. It was a Heavenly Emperor realm foreign race. Unlucky, it was really too unlucky. Qing Tsang Wu Tai and the rest's faces became extremely ugly. A Heavenly Emperor realm foreign race was troublesome. Qing Tsang could tell that this was a one-star Heavenly Emperor realm foreign race. One had to know their characters above the Heavenly Emperor realm all wore chain armor. Only those below the Heavenly Emperor realm did not wear armor. They could not do anything to this Heavenly Emperor at all. Once the other party caused a commotion and alarmed Duole, then everything would be over. All of the plans would be ruined. Many people who knew the plan were burning with anxiety. What to do? Swoosh! Right at this time, a figure rushed out explosively, charging towards this foreign race Heavenly Emperor. It was Lu Ming. Lu Ming directly made his move. At this time, there was nothing to hesitate about. Only by killing this foreign race could they escape. Otherwise, it was all over. Lu Ming's speed was astonishing. His entire body was suffused with a purple light. The moment he attacked, he used all his strength, using the Tao of Sovereign. In the process of rushing out, the great Baron's spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming erupted with all his strength, man and spear as one, and stabbed towards the foreign race Heavenly Emperor. This is the foreign race Heavenly Emperor's pupils shrank rapidly. This was because he felt a fatal threat from Lu Ming's attack. It was unbelievable that a Heavenly Emperor gave him such a feeling. However, at this time, he did not have time to think too much. He roared and erupted with all his strength, forming layers of defense. As long as he blocked this move and escaped in another direction, spreading the news, Lu Ming and the rest would be finished, and he would be able to make a contribution. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming's attack had already reached. The foreign race Heavenly Emperor's expression changed immediately. This was because the defense he set up could not block Lu Ming's attack at all. Wherever the spear light passed, all of his defenses collapsed in an instant. No, no! How is this possible? The foreign race Heavenly Emperor roared in his heart. Puork! A long spear pierced through the void, directly piercing through the space between his eyebrows. Buzz! The long spear shook. The foreign race Heavenly Emperor was torn apart. Dead. Everyone was dumbfounded with their mouths agape, completely stunned. A one-star Heavenly Emperor was actually insta-killed by Lu Ming in one move. My God, what kind of strength was this? Lu Ming was just a Heavenly Emperor realm. He could actually insta-kill a one-star Heavenly Emperor in one move. This kind of combat strength was seriously too terrifying. Actually, this was also normal. The Tao of Sovereign was too powerful. Even Lu Ming's world power contained a trace of purple gold power. Lu Ming called it the power of Sovereign. Now, Lu Ming did not need a physical body. Just relying on the law system, he felt that he could kill a one-star Heavenly Emperor. Just now, adding in the power of the physical body and the power of the Great Baron Spear, insta-killing a one-star Heavenly Emperor in one move was not surprising. Swish! Chapter 2435. After Lu Ming rushed out of the passage, he put away the great, desolate spear and directly slammed his palm towards the restriction light screen. What is he trying to do? Those who didn't know the plan were shocked, and their expressions changed drastically. It was impossible for Lu Ming to break the restriction light screen like this, and it would even alarm Duo Lu. But it was already too late for them to stop it. Buzz! Lu Ming's palm carried a purplish gold light as it bombarded the restriction light screen. Layers of ripples appeared on the restriction light screen. Lu Ming used the Tao of Sovereigns to break the restriction. The Tao of Sovereigns ruled over all things. Even this restriction light screen could be ruled. Layers of ripples appeared on the restriction light screen. Qing San and the rest stared with wide eyes, watching nervously. Although they heard Lu Ming say that he could break the restriction, they had not seen it with their own eyes, so it was inevitable that they were nervous. Buzz! Suddenly, the restriction light screen shook, and then a crack appeared on it. The crack grew rapidly, forming a huge hole. It opened. The restriction light screen opened. Qing San and the rest were overjoyed, their faces revealing excitement. And those who were invited and did not know the plan were all dumbfounded, unable to believe their eyes. The restriction light screen was actually opened by Lu Ming, someone who had not broken into the Heavenly Emperor realm. How was this possible? Legend had it that the restriction light screen of the Eternal Prison was formed by a treasure of the foreign race's sacred ancestor. It was sturdy and immortal, and could not be broken at all. Even a peak Heavenly Emperor would find it difficult to break it. But now it was broken by Lu Ming. Slap! Someone slapped himself fiercely. What are you doing? Someone asked in surprise. I want to see if I'm dreaming. Is it because I want to go out too much that I'm daydreaming? So it's not ha ha ha. That person laughed loudly. The others. Go! Go quickly, otherwise when Duo Le finds out, none of you will be able to leave. Qing San let out a loud roar and rushed forward. The others also seemed to have woken up from a dream and ran wildly. Quick! I can't hold on for long. Lu Ming shouted as well. He realized that the amount of energy consumed to open the restriction light screen was terrifying. Now his power of the world was depleting at an alarming speed. Whoosh! Whoosh! Qing San Wu Tai and the others quickly rushed out and finally arrived outside the light barrier. At this time, Duoli, who had been in seclusion, suddenly opened his eyes, his expression extremely ugly. Damn it! He had instantly discovered Lu Ming and the others through the outsider's sacred patriarch's treasure. He was extremely shocked. Lu Ming was actually able to open the light screen. This was something that had never happened before. Damn it! None of you can leave. Die! Duol roared, controlling the sacred ancestor's treasure. Wong! At this moment, the bead above the cage of 10,000 generations was vibrating violently and emitting a terrifying aura, causing the light barrier to tremble violently. Puff! Lu Ming felt a terrifying force pressing down on him. His body shook violently as he spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and the hole that he opened up was rapidly healing. Fortunately, everyone had escaped. Lu Ming's muscles shook fiercely, and he rushed out. Before the light barrier healed, he rushed out of the light barrier. None of you can leave. Duol's roar came out from the cage of 10,000 generations. An incomparably terrifying aura erupted, spreading out for a radius of 1,000,000 miles. Duol went crazy. A peak Heavenly Emperor went crazy. It was earth-shattering. It was too terrifying. At this moment, in the cage of 10,000 generations, those who did not escape were all shocked. What's going on? What happened? Duol went crazy. Could it be that someone wants to escape? Who is it? So bold. Many people guessed. Everyone attack for me. Chase after the fugitives. Kill without mercy. Duol's voice sounded again. He chased after Lu Ming and the others at an extremely fast speed. In the cage of 10,000 generations, all the outsider races were alarmed and also chased after Lu Ming and the others. Someone escaped. The remaining people who did not escape were dumbfounded with shock. There was actually someone who could really escape. Roar! At this moment, outside the light screen, Qing Tsang raised his head to the sky and roared. A roar shook the firmament. Resplendent golden light erupted from Qing Tsang's body. Endless golden light battered that chain armor. Bang! 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 On the chain armor, explosions were unceasingly happening. Qing Tsang's aura became stronger and stronger. Qing Tsang was one of the top 10 battle beasts back then, a peak heavenly emperor existence. His combat strength was shockingly strong. He could break open the chain armor with his own strength alone. It was just that in the past, inside the restriction light screen, even if he broke open the armor, he could not get out. He would be suppressed by the sacred ancestor weapon controlled by Duel. But now that he was outside, he had no scruples. Qing Tsang. In the distance, an earth-shattering roar came. A burly figure appeared. It was Duel. Duel had arrived. Swish! Duel's third eye burst forth with a light of destruction. This light of destruction actually turned into a giant hand, directly passing through the restriction light screen and bombarding down towards Lu Ming and the others. He directly made a killing move, wanting to kill Lu Ming, Qing Tsang, and the others. Roar! Qing Tsang let out a long roar, and a terrifying force erupted from his body, directly destroying the chain armor. With the chain armor destroyed, Qing Tsang's aura became even more terrifying. His body emitted boundless golden light, and his body rapidly transformed into a giant lion with 9 heads, its entire body golden, as if it was carved from gold. Top 10 battle beasts, 9-headed golden lion. Roar! 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 The 9 heads roared one after another, and the entire eternal cage began to shake violently. The space around it exploded into smithereens in an instant. The giant hand of destruction that Duo Lu had unleashed also shook violently and was blocked. At this moment, Wu Tai and the others were also crazily attacking the chain armor. However, their strength was not as good as Qing Tsang's. For a time, they could not break through it all. In the distance, powerful auras rose one after another. The other foreign race powerhouses were also about to rush over. Big brother Wu Tai, let me help you. Lu Ming came to Wu Tai's side and used his sovereign power to help Wu Tai break the chain armor. The sovereign power could even break the restriction light screen set up by the foreign race's sacred ancestor weapon. Logically speaking, it could also break this armor. Sure enough, after the sovereign power poured into the armor, the seal on the armor was quickly destroyed by the sovereign power. In an instant, all the seal power was broken. Boom! Wu Tai erupted and the armor exploded. Wu Tai's body emitted a terrifying aura. Ha ha ha, I'm finally free. Wu Tai laughed loudly. His aura was like smoke, soaring into the sky, stirring up the wind and clouds. Although Wu Tai was not as strong as Qing Tsang, he was also an extremely terrifying existence. His cultivation had reached 6-star Heavenly Emperor. He was not far from peak Heavenly Emperor. Damn it! Duel roared, erupting with all his strength, attacking with terrifying attacks. However, Qing Tsang was not afraid of him at all. The 9 lion heads roared, spewing out pillars of light, fighting with Duel. The 2 of them had similar cultivation, and the 2 of them were locked in battle. Chapter 2436. At this time, some of the other foreign race powerhouses also rushed out of the light screen and charged over. Brother Lu Ming, go help the others. I'll block them. Wu Tai said. He strode forward and charged towards those foreign races. As for Lu Ming, he rushed towards another person and helped him break the chain armor. With Lu Ming's help, That person also broke the armor in a few moves, and a terrifying aura emanated from his body. This was also a powerhouse not weaker than Wu Tai, a 6-star heavenly emperor from the hell-suppressing realm. This time, among the people who escaped, it belonged to this person and Wu Tai. Qing Tsang was the strongest. Brother Lu Ming, many thanks. This person cupped his fists and then rushed towards Wu Tai. Together with Wu Tai, they fought the foreign race powerhouses. There weren't many outsider experts guarding the world of Ians. There were only 18 heavenly emperors, because with the foreign race sacred ancestor weapon and duel, a peak heavenly emperor, it was enough. There was no need for so many powerhouses to guard. Of the 18 heavenly emperors, one was killed by Lu Ming earlier. There were still 17. Among them, there was only one 6-star heavenly emperor. At this time, with 2 6-star heavenly emperors taking action, the foreign race side immediately fell into a disadvantage. Many people heaved a sigh of relief. They were safe. At least, with their current strength, they no longer feared the foreign race. Lu Ming continued to help the others break the armor. There were more and more experts on their side, and more people joined the battle. The foreign race side was completely no match. Several heavenly emperors were killed consecutively. The remaining foreign race heavenly emperors did not dare to fight at all and retreated into the light screen. Damn it! Duol roared again and again, his expression extremely ugly. He could only fight with Qing Tsang and could not deal with the others at all. This was outside the light screen, and he could not control the power of the restriction to deal with Qing Tsang and the rest. That brat, it's all that brat, Lu Ming, Duol roared in his heart, his gaze sweeping towards Lu Ming, filled with ferocious killing intent. All of this was because of Lu Ming. If not for Lu Ming, Qing Tsang and the rest would not have been able to escape. He wished he could grind Lu Ming's bones to dust. Now it was too late for regrets. If he had known earlier, he would have brought Lu Ming with him. Dole, I'll take you on. Wu Tai roared and charged at Duolei. Another 6-star heavenly emperor and 2 5-star heavenly emperors also charged towards Duolei. As for Lu Ming, he continued to help the others break their armors. Qing Tsang's battle prowess was not weaker than Duol's to begin with. Now, with the other 4 experts joining forces, Duol was at a disadvantage. Roar! Roar! Qing Tsang's body was as large as a mountain, and his entire body was covered in golden light. He was incredibly ferocious, and his 9 heads attacked with 9 different abilities. As for Wu Tai and the others, they cultivated the archaic martial arts system. Their offensive power was extremely strong. With a wave of their hands, terrifying saber gleams and sword gleams burst forth, capable of splitting the heavens and earth apart. For a moment, Duoli was no match and was forced to retreat again and again. Qing Tsang seized the opportunity and rushed over. With a claw, he left a deep wound on Duol's body. Duol's face was pale as he quickly retreated. Kill! Qing Tsang roared. Not wanting to let Duol off, he launched a fierce attack. Wu Tai and the others also attacked with all their might. Damn it! In the end, Duol let out an angry roar, turned around and left, charging into the restriction light screen. There was no other way. Without the help of the restriction light screen, the foreign race experts guarding the eternal world cage were not Qing Tsang's match at all. Go, let's leave quickly. Qing Tsang shouted, turned around and left. A powerful force swept up, sweeping up the others and turning into a beam of golden light, flying into the distance, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Quick, report the news. Send people to snipe Qing Tsang and the others along the way. We must take them down. Duol roared and gave the order. All of a sudden, more than 100 heavenly emperors escaped. There was also a peak heavenly emperor like Qing Tsang. If they could not capture them, he would definitely be punished. Immediately, they informed the 10 great royal clans of the news, and Lu Ming and the others were also making the best use of their time. Next, their destination was the Hell Suppression Realm. This was something they had planned long ago. In the vast evil god realm, only the Hell Suppression Realm could give them shelter. Otherwise, even if they escaped, they would be surrounded by the foreign races. Sooner or later, they would be captured or killed. Only by escaping into the Hell Suppression Realm would they be considered safe. Now, they had to make the best use of their time and rush to the Hell Suppression Realm with the fastest speed. It was certain that the foreign races would definitely send powerhouses to encircle and annihilate them. But what was advantageous to them was that the Eternal World Cage was not far from the Hell Suppression Realm. Qing Tsang, Wu Tai, and the rest wrapped the others with their power and hurried along with all their might. As for Lu Ming, he continued to help the remaining people break their armor. Only when more people recovered their combat strength, at that time, even if they were surrounded by the foreign races, they could still fight. They specifically chose some barren mountains and uninhabited places to fly. Not long after, everyone's chain armor was broken by Lu Ming. Everyone recovered their combat strength. More than 100 heavenly emperors. This was an extremely shocking force. They increased their speed, traveling through space. Along the way, they did not encounter any obstacles at all. More than 100 heavenly emperors. Too terrifying. Even if the foreign races received the news and mobilized so many powerhouses, they could not catch up to Lu Ming and the rest. If they wanted to send people to snipe, they could only send the powerhouses in front of Lu Ming and the rest. But in front of Lu Ming and the rest, how could so many powerhouses gather in such a short time? Even if some powerhouses discovered Lu Ming and the rest, they did not dare to stop them. Therefore, Lu Ming and the rest had a smooth journey. After half a day, they were about to reach the Hell Suppression Realm. The Hell Suppression Realm was not an independent realm outside the Evil God Realm. It was only a part of the Evil God Realm, a vast area shrouded in layers of black fog. Inside the black fog was the Hell Suppression Realm. There were large numbers of foreign race armies stationed in the Hell Suppression Realm. The two sides had been fighting for countless years. The foreign races had invested a large number of powerhouses here. Because the Hell Suppression Realm was also very strong, they would often send people out to ambush the foreign races. If the foreign races did not send strong people, they would definitely be killed and defeated by the people of the Hell Suppression Realm. Outside the Hell Suppression Realm, in the east in the vast mountains, a group of people flashed in the mountains. This group of people had about 100 people, and they were all humans. They were the humans from the Hell Suppression Realm. Among them, there were 6 heavenly emperors. The rest were all great emperors. They came out this time to ambush the foreign races and hunt them down. This kind of thing had happened countless times over the years. They restrained their auras and were careful, because when they hunted down the foreign races, they might also be hunted down by the foreign races. Passing through the vast mountains, a military camp appeared in front of them. Here, there was an army of the foreign races stationed. Their goal today was to destroy this army. Kill. The leader was a burly man with the cultivation of a 3-star heavenly emperor. He was the commander of this group of people. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.